Warning, this episode, number 43, Jordan, for whatever reason, was feeling extra rabbit holey and could not stay on topic. Nate and Lola were powerless to stop it. Jordan's broken brain touched on everything from Patty Mahomes' face and mustache and acting abilities to random football stuff to God only knows at the end when he was attempting to do a sponsor plug about Giltech tube jigs. To be clear, he's an idiot, and these opinions, while goofy and weird, should not be taken remotely serious by anyone ever. Please proceed to listening or watching at your own risk. You done been warned.
That's it.
All right, everybody, welcome. Bienvenidos, as my homies say, to episode number 43 of Tackle and Tacos, a fishing podcast. My name is Jordan. This is my wife, Lola. We are coming to you live from our, well, this won't be going live, but we're recording and we are alive here in lovely, cold, northern Wisconsin. Nate, what you got going there?
Well, luckily it's not near as cold here in Davenport, Iowa. It's been pretty nice, right in the 40s. I think 50 something yesterday with sunshine, man. It was amazing. But yeah, other than that, it's been solid. Finally, that snow is finally melting and getting out of here. So I'm happy about that.
You taking the boat out or what?
So much snow.
Yeah, y'all got dumped on,
It's
even
so
though you were
weird.
way geographically below us.
We didn't get
I think in
anything.
I think it was like an 8 or 12-day stretch, something like that. We got like over 18 inches or over 20 inches. It was wild.
That's
feel
more
like
than
we
you've
got,
gotten
like,
in
5.
years accumulative.
For sure. It was
honestly,
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just about all gone now. There's some big mounds here and there, but
Okay.
yeah, I've legit thought about pulling the boat out a couple different times.
You should,
This weekend's
dude.
supposed to be pretty nice, so I might have to do it. I got some maintenance, and I don't know if anybody saw our Instagram post. My boat is currently a wreck.
Not literally a wreck. You didn't wreck it.
Well, I didn't wreck it, but it looks
No.
like a wreck
Just
with
a little messy.
as a very expensive workbench. But so I got some cleanup to do, some work to do on that, and maybe take it out Sunday or something and run around and see if I can catch one or two.
Yes.
Catch you one.
There's supposed to be an ice fishing contest on our lake next
Saturday.
weekend.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be in the 40s all week. And I'm like,
half
I'm
the
not
lake
doing
is
that.
Yeah, half the lake is looking like open, and our kids want to fish in it, even though we're not great at ice fishing. But they just want to hang out.
I love ice fishing.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying we don't like it. Like, we're just not that lake is temperamental, but but I'm not going out there with open water. I'm not doing that.
I will not.
No.
I need it. Show me how thick. All right. There we go.
Yeah, but like
2
that
feet.
that thick though across the whole thing,
Yeah.
not just like in little
Right,
portions.
right.
Like it's
So,
wild.
It's funny you say that because just the other day, I think it was on Facebook, the Lost Grove Lake, that lake we fish all the time.
Yeah.
Who
won that last tournament there last year?
Last year.
Oh, that was us. A couple of stud black fishermen. Yeah, boy.
Yeah, but there's a guy that I don't know if he runs a spreader of some sort, an airplane, or something. But he takes some aerial photos of the lake every now and again and posts them up online.
Okay.
He did it like earlier this week and like showing pictures of like what's iced and what's not and this and that, and like I'm talking about a large chunk of the lake, no ice, and then
Crazy.
And then about 40 yards from the edge of that chunk, there's an ice hut in his picture. You can see it.
Oh my gosh,
No,
dude.
Like a little red pop up, and like 20 yards from him on the backside of that, it's all like clear, like no ice around some trees.
It's like a weird like ice peninsula.
Oh man, it was wild. Yeah, I was like,
that's crazy.
Are you kidding?
He's gonna
me?
fall
Like,
asleep and wake up like floated away. Like the whole little ice thing is gonna break off, dude.
Exactly. He's gonna be like inside the ice hut, and it's gonna be like floating up like an umbrella in the water.
Oh my god.
Nope. There's this really dope true story. I read the book and I think there was a movie about it. I'm not sure, but it's called the Greeley Expeditions. So back in the day, like way back, there was this big race between England and America of who could get over the North Pole first, or was it Antarctica? I can't remember. But anyway, whoever could get over it, like for travel, trying to see if there was like a travel route.
Antarctica.
Maybe it was.
Not. I don't know.
But who could get over it first? And so all these guys would go out on these expeditions in their boats, and then they would get frozen into like at night as they're going through these really narrow passes of ice and whatever. The temperature would drop so hard at night that it would freeze them in, and then the ice would shift, and it would pop their boat up like these giant, like, you know what I'm saying, like Little Mermaid boats, like these giant, you know, whatever wooden ships would shoot up in the air like a cork on a wine bottle, and then come back, bang, and come banging down on the ice, and they would sit there. They wouldn't break, but they would sit there until like the ice melted again, and then they would sit back into the water. So like people would go on these expeditions, and they would be gone for like 9 months.
Oh my God.
Even though they were only supposed to be gone for like 2 months, but the other 7 was them being frozen in the ice. Like,
that sounds awful.
Yeah, I don't know, that kind of stuff. And I guess it's not the same as ice fishing on Lost Grove, but it just sounds terrifying. So before we bring in our guest, and I've noticed this thing that we do. Well, I do it. I sort of try to like cliffhanger us on like our guest that we have here tonight.
Oh, baby.
But this isn't live. And we launch these with the name of the person in the title.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll be like, this guy, he's a great fisherman. He's from Michigan. And people are like, yeah, it's Chad Pipkins. It's in the title, stupid. Like,
nobody knows it. Nobody has any idea who it is.
So I don't have to keep on trying to like titillate anyone. But
so
Stinky Pants Fishing, the owner, starter, and Lil Stank is going to be with us, Jason and his son. We're super excited. We've said this from the giddy on this show that we wanted to not only talk about bass fishing, but talk about other kinds of fishing. And us three, we want to learn. And tonight's going to be a big like learning thing in a specific style of fishing that we don't know a lot about, but looks so freaking cool. And so in just a couple of minutes, we're going to bring in Jason and his son. What do you say his name was? Wyatt, but he calls him Little Stink, Little Stank, something, Stink Stank.
We're going to bring
he's the original. Yeah, he's the originator of the name. We don't got to let that out of the bag yet. But
I mean, you just said it, but it's fine.
Well, why he is, I guess. But before we get there, I just want to say I'm real excited for this Sunday. This is sarcasm. I'm real excited for this Sunday for the Super Bowl that no one wanted. I don't know if the NFL will brand it that way, but they probably should, because I don't think anybody wanted to see the Niners and the Chiefs. Anyone? Did anybody? Did you want that, Nate?
That's definitely not a Super Bowl. I would have
no
thought in the back of my head, you know what would be a good one to see?
The Chiefs for the 53rd time, so we can hear Patrick Mahomes, ready, blue, ready. Man.
We just went out there and we just played.
Travis Kelce. And then Travis Kelce on every commercial.
Yeah.
Man. Anyway, but so during the last game.
Hold up. Talk about sponsors right there.
Yeah.
We always talk about getting that dude. He works for every company out
every
there. Like
single one. Okay, 2 things. Patrick Mahomes is in every commercial. And now his homie, Travis Kelce, is in every commercial. But going backwards, why does Patrick Mahomes make the same face in every single commercial he's in? And it's this one right here.
Jordan's very passionate about this face. Like, oh, look, it's the same face.
There it is.
So like the one where they're having like Jake from State Farm and Andy Reid like goes and takes his hamburger and he's like this.
Nuggies.
And then the one where he's like calling plays for T-Mobile, and the T-Mobile guy is like blah blah blah. And he's like I don't know if it's even work. Where's my phone at?
I don't know where your phone is.
The other day I went to the outlet mall to save big on name brands, and there was an Adidas outlet, and there was a Patrick Mahomes poster that was like the size of the earth, like it was humongous.
He took a picture and sent it to me.
I took a picture of the poster because look at the poster. I don't know if this will work. Oh, there it is.
That is same face.
He's doing the effing face and the giant poster the size of a building.
All right.
I hope he loses the Super Bowl just for making that stupid face. So when they give the trophy away, he'll be like,
why do you care?
In the background.
Why do you care?
I don't know. It's just so annoying.
Who cares?
I don't know. It's
between your face,
it's between that, his cadence, and his paper thin, like 90s
Stop it.
R&B band, like girl, I wanna sex you.
Oh my
Like that thin little mustache he rocks. Like, dude, that's not it, dude. That's not it.
The passion with this. I like it.
Anyway, so during the Niners Lions NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Speaking of the man from the mitten, I text C-Pip and I said, dude, come on, man. Lions are up by 17. This is awesome. Because I think everybody was kind of rooting for the Lions. They hadn't won a playoff game in like 30 years, and they won 2. So like that's pretty dope. And they were beating the brakes off the Niners. And then Chad texted me back. I was like, yeah, dude, let's go. Hopefully they don't blow it or something.
Whoops.
I'm not saying it's his fault, but
that was a sad day to be from the state of the mitten for sure. I bet it. I mean, it was so bad. I bet the guys up in the UP were sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
they had to be.
That was rough.
Yeah, I bet you Eminem was somewhere rapping really fast and sad. You know what I'm saying?
That was pretty good. Yeah.
He's a Lions fan.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? So, before we bring in Jason and Wyatt, we'll bring you guys in. I promise you're coming on. We'll stop baloneying here. And I'm sorry that I said sex in front of a young man. I apologize.
Twice now.
Sorry. But real quick, like always, we are so pumped, so honored to have some sponsors on board that we really actually believe in. Grizzly Coolers, and specifically their Kenai lineup. If you haven't checked it out, you really should. It's as good, if not better, than every other really thick insulated cooler out there. And it's made, that line Kenai is made specifically for anglers. Like they made that for anglers. That's pretty rad. And then Hook and Arrow Supply and Giltech, makers of some of the best fishing lures, components, like jig heads and whatever that we've ever used. And so to have them on board is pretty amazing. And then if you're in that area like Wasaki or wherever it is, hit up Hook and Arrow Supply, the actual brick and mortar actual store. They have a good bow tech. Brian, the feller who runs it, owns it, is just an actual blue collar, hardworking, just a good dude. And it's cool to be part of that. And then of course, speaking of working, we are honored to be part of the Working Class Bowhunter Podcast Network, which is run by our homies Kurt and Eric and Doug and Austin and all them dudes over there. So they're just awesome cats. And so for us to be affiliated with a company that's doing so well and growing so well, and then they also happen to be like really good friends, that's pretty dope. So yeah, so we're stoked about that. So before we bring them in, not to be like too Debbie Downer, but I do want to touch on it for just a second, honestly. And this is not a joke. This is actually serious. But I do want to touch on a couple things. I think it's important to show a little bit of solidarity in the angling community. And we don't know either one of these people we're about to bring up, but we do want people to know that we are thinking of them, praying for their families. So the first one is, what'd you say that feller's name was?
Jonathan Bryan.
Jonathan Bryan is a fella college angler from the University of, was it Western Kentucky, Nate?
Yeah.
I think it was Western Kentucky, yeah.
Yeah, so they were, it's really neat right now how big bass fishing is getting, and then not just how big it's getting, but how many on-ramps there are to like professional bass fishing. So like the high school stuff and the college stuff and the opens, and like it's really neat to see all these different ways that people can really build up their experience. And it's really getting to be like baseball, there's, or whatever sport, whether it's starting young and they're getting people into it, and the college game is getting really big. And the guys were out pre-fishing on a lake, and it was real foggy, and there ended up being like a pretty heavy collision. And that one feller, Jonathan, passed away.
So sad.
And that is absolutely freaking heartbreaking, man. And like I said,
tragic for sure.
Tragic beyond words, dude. That dude's got a family. I don't know a whole lot about him, but I know he was an angler, and my heart breaks for him, for his teammates, for everybody fishing that tournament. You can't be fishing that tournament without thinking about that guy. And so to that guy, we just his family, we're praying for you, we're thinking of you. Our hearts go out to you, and that sucks.
Awful.
Yeah, the other one, in kind of a different way is equally, to me as a dad, to watch this video was equally heartbreaking. There's a guy named they call him Sonar, right, Nate? Isn't that the nickname?
Yep, Sonar is his nickname. I think Sonar Fishing is all his social handle as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, all Miles Berghoff.
Yeah, Miles Berghoff. I heard about that dude a bunch of years ago on BTL as like the guy who's like
Mhm.
a technical genius. Like he was the first dude I ever heard of who was rocking like a whole, maybe not ever, but the one that I had really been made aware of, who was rocking like 3 different brand electronics like Garmin, Lowrance, and Humminbird because of the advantages of each. So he had this for side imaging, this for mapping, this for live scope, whatever. And I was like, wow, like I'm so anal about brands that I was like, oh, I could never do that. It would look so bad. And then I heard him talk about it and the specificity of like, he's just a smart guy, super smart dude.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed by it. So I've been a fan of his forever. His YouTube channel, it kind of reminds me in a way of the dude Trey, who we had on a couple weeks ago, where it's like, not bad, but it's just not super overproduced. It's very honest. It's no frills.
Yeah.
It's good footage. It's a lot of like honest commentary. And so if you don't, you should follow Miles Berghoff on YouTube and whatever else. But he and his wife just had a little girl. I wish I knew more about it, like time wise, but she's really little. Like she's really cute. I mean, what are we thinking? 4 or 5 months? I'm not really sure.
Well, she's holding her head up in that video.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think her name is Riley. I'm pretty certain. So basically, the long and short of it is Miles was fishing all the opens this year because he's still trying to go pro and the elites and BASS. So the opens are the EQ, the elite qualifier. And he was going down to fish on Okeechobee, the derby that's going on right now. And his daughter, he showed a picture of her. His daughter's face was kind of like puffed up and they didn't know what was going on. So they took her to the doctor and they said that it was just like an infection along with a cold. And so they're like, oh, that sucks, but it's not the end of the world. And so his wife was like, yeah, go down there and practice and get ready. And then he got a call and it turns out that his daughter, his little baby daughter, has cancer. And when I heard that as a dad, I was like, oh, I mean, I
walked into our room after putting the kids to bed and he's like in tears and he's like, oh, this is awful. And I was like, what's going on?
Yeah. And I don't know the dude, but as a dad, I mean, that's just absolutely heart shattering.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that Miles will ever hear this, but man, we are praying for you and your wife and your little girl and anybody out there, man, who maybe believes in prayer or a higher power, or even if you just want to use positive thoughts, like really channel them, send them that way. Because, I think sometimes it's easy to see people on like social media, on YouTube videos, whatever, and just sort of think like somebody like, let's say like Milliken or somebody who has 1 million followers putting out videos every 2 seconds. That dude goes through tough spots in life too.
Yeah.
Everybody runs into, the crap hits the fan for everybody at different times. And so sign of solidarity. We're praying for you, man, and your family. And the same thing with the fella from Kentucky. That's rough. Yeah. So, but again, I don't want to get too Debbie Downery, but I think it's important to acknowledge stuff like that when it's going on. So beyond that, we're getting ready to bring in a guest that we've been talking to for a while. We got linked up through a mutual friend, and they were like, hey, you should have my homie Stinky Pants Fishing on. And I remember the first time I got the text, I was like, Stinky Pants Fishing? Like I thought, I was like, what is it? I didn't know. I'm like, are they making like catfish stink bait? Like what does that even mean? And then we kind of just got in contact, and then we were supposed to podcast last week, and Nate got forced into, well, maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm gonna get you in trouble. Your wife doesn't even listen to the podcast.
Not a chance. Yeah, we're good.
But what happened? Run us through what happened last week.
Apparently she had a work party come up. Well, I mean, you always hear about them last minute, you know what I mean? But I told you 2 weeks ago about that.
It's been on the calendar. Check
it. It's our calendar's blank. It's dry erase. There ain't nothing on it. But,
it's dry erase.
Yeah. Trash bags and dog food. The 2 things we need to pick up.
You got those done.
That's all that's on there. That's it. That's all that's on there. So
fine.
But yeah, so she had a work party that we had to go to, and she's one she's not a super like social person, my wife. So anytime I get her to go to outings or events with me, I'm like, oh, dope, this is a win. So pretty much anything she asked me to do for her that's outside of the house, I'm totally
You're like,
game.
let's go.
Yeah, yeah, and not because I want to go or I want to do any of that stuff, but just solely out of support of her,
Yeah.
and her being there for me when I
So you had to.
need her to go to whatever. Yep.
You
So I had to.
lovingly had to.
Such a honey.
That's exactly it. I lovingly had to go, and
Yeah.
it was just a work party with her coworkers. I don't know if it was a Christmas deal or what, but they
Okay.
had like little raffles and giveaways and stuff, and drinks at the bar. So it wasn't too bad.
So you didn't say to her, but Stinky Pants. I can't go to the Stinky Pants. She's like, wait, what?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mentioned it, and she said, "Do you need to stay? Do you need?" And I was like, "Yeah, I probably should, but I'll go." And
oh, what a nice husband.
And I told her I was going to be her pretty handbag. That's what I was at the bar.
Pretty handbag.
Exactly. Yeah, just a pretty smiling face sitting next to her.
Yeah, you're the trophy husband.
Exactly. That's it. Trophy husband. That's what I was looking for.
All right. Well, now though, and I will say, Jason from Stinky Pants was very, very like accommodating. Was like, yeah that's fine, whatever. He wasn't like, no, dude, we're doing this tonight, because we were gonna like try and do it just me and Lola and them, and I was like, well, yeah, I don't really want.
And then I was like, ooh, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. So thanks Alexis for allowing Lola to go to bed earlier. But without any further ado, this feller, the story behind the company, I think is so rad. To me, it's very much like the American dream. I used to work for a place called Motion Race Works, and they're like a giant in the race car parts world now. And it literally started because Doug was a guy who raced cars and saw this little, I can't even remember what it was for. It was like a little mount. Maybe it was for mounting like a master cylinder, like something real simple on a firewall. And then everybody wanted it. And I feel like this dude is doing a very similar thing. Like he saw a niche, and not even like necessarily maybe to make money, but like, oh, I should make this part. And now it's like, it's blowing up. And so we're really excited to bring him in. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, with no further ado, this is Jason Paul from Stinky Pants, along with Lil Stank. Lil Stank, what's up, fellas? Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome in the house. Yep.
Yeah, we're so stoked to have you on here. Sorry we took so long. Sorry we said some inappropriate stuff. It was all Lola.
I can't believe we had to come on after the Patrick Mahomes bit. I wasn't ready for that. I got to follow that.
Are you a Patrick Mahomes fan? Please say no.
No, but I mean, I was over here cracking up. I was like, man, I got to come on after that.
Oh man, it wasn't really scheduled. I just kind of shoot from the hip, and his mustache and his cadence and his face just makes me so angry. So like,
I do like the Andy Reid parts of his commercials.
Yeah, I like Andy Reid. How could you not like Andy Reid?
Yeah,
he's about like the most likable dude. Yeah. I remember a couple years ago in one of their very many Super Bowl appearances, after they won one, they asked Andy, you remember this? Does anybody remember? They asked Andy Reid, like, what are you going to do now? And it wasn't like set up for the Disney thing. It was just like a real honest, like, what do you want to do now, coach? He's like, I'm going to get a cheeseburger. Such a chubby dude thing to say, but it was dope.
I would say that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not a chubby dude.
Thanks.
Yeah. So welcome to the show, fellas. We're super excited to have y'all. We're really excited to learn from you. We're excited to learn about who you are, about what Stinky Pants is. And before I think we get into that, Jason, why don't you tell us who that is to your side there?
All right. So this is my son, Wyatt, a.k.a. Lil Stank. And so I asked him to come on at the very beginning because, I thought it'd be cool to have him on there anyways. But,
for sure.
Like when I look at him, I see how my business has grown. So the name Stinky Pants came because he was born about the same time that the business was coming around, and so the name Stinky Pants came because we were elbow deep in poopy diapers, and and so it was one of those deals. Like me and another buddy were talking, and there may have been a few libations involved, and then we came up with the name Stinky Pants Fishing, and of course it sounded great that night, but next morning I woke up and it still sounded good, and so I got on the computer and I drew my logo on there, and it's still the same logo, like hand drawn, like on a computer, so it's all like non-symmetrical and stuff. But
that's perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's my logo, but that's that's just a title. So
we have a big sticker. So you sent us the big decal. You sent us a couple boxes of awesome stuff that we've been going. This right here. This is the logo.
That's it. Yeah. That's been churched up a little bit with the Texas flag behind
churched it. Up. I like the stink lines coming out of it. That's probably my favorite part. So
sure.
Is it Little Stink or Little Stank?
Stank.
With an A or I?
A.
A. Oh,
Yeah,
Stank. Okay,
Lil
well, yeah, I like that
Stank.
better. So, Lil Stank, answer us a question real quick, Wyatt.
Don't be nervous.
Is it weird for you then to know that like the name of the company was about you with poopy diapers?
It's a little awkward. It's when I have to explain it to my friends.
Yeah.
Especially when you say it's from like 3 months ago. That's weird.
You're like, it just happened. Like he just started it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So are you big into fishing, Lil Stank?
Yes, sir. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, boy.
So anytime we go down, I do my best to beat him.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Like
awesome. Heck yeah.
He's coming into his own now, so I probably pushed him too hard when he was little. Like, he's out there in a diaper and I'm making him throw a bait caster and trying to hit a bucket and stuff. And, he's going to be all artificial. But, then I kind of figured maybe I need to relax a little bit. And so now I let him throw a spinning reel. And, he used to throw bait. Now he'll throw lures now. But
okay.
But, yeah, he'll get after it. So.
Yeah.
When's the last time you went fishing, Wyatt?
It was over Christmas
About
break.
a week and a half ago. Or no, not Christmas. No,
Oh yeah, we went to Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we went. Martin Luther King was that the 15th.
Yep.
Yeah.
We
Right
went to Louisiana. I forgot for my wife's birthday, so we did a little fishing and gambling in Louisiana.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sounds like a forgettable trip.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite style of fishing, Wyatt?
It's always going to be a spinning, and then I've recently found out how fun topwaters are.
Okay.
So I've been trying to learn how to properly use those.
Yeah.
And it's always the best thing when a big trout comes and just smacks that.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. And so anybody who's hearing this right now, this is what's so rad about this is we're not talking topwaters as in like bass topwaters or like whopper ploppers. Like these fellers are in the South. Where are you guys at right now?
Just outside of San Antonio, Texas, Bernie.
Okay, so Bernie, Texas, just outside of San Antonio. These guys, and you are, I mean, almost exclusively saltwater, yeah?
Like what I sell or what I do?
What you do?
I wouldn't say exclusively. Like we'll do some fly fishing around here.
Oh, awesome!
Like on the creeks and stuff, and even just throwing like little like creek rods. We'll go to I have an uncle that lives in Colorado, so we'll do some fly fishing up there. And
awesome!
There's some lakes around here that we can try for some bass or striper and things like that. So I like fishing in general, but the majority of our fishing is down at the coast in the salt.
Yeah, awesome! Right on.
Wait, how far is that from San Antonio?
I can get to Corpus in like 2.5 hours.
Okay.
Right on. Yeah. Yeah, and so you said trout. So we're not talking like trout like we have in the creeks here in Wisconsin. You're talking like what are they called? Speckled trout?
Yeah, speckled sea trout. Mm-hmm. Speckled sea trout
with the little fangs in the front.
Yeah, they got the two.
Yeah,
look like someone I dated back in high school. Yeah.
Okay. Is this awkward for you hearing this as well, Wyatt?
I'm kind of used to it by now.
He's in high school. He knows.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how old are you, Wyatt?
I'm 16.
16.
Okay.
Nice. Heck yeah.
And he's not little. I got him sitting in a chair, but he's like 3 inches taller than me now.
Oh snap! Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's not. We're rounding, okay? Yeah. But when he was born, he was only he was a preemie. He was only 2 pounds 10 ounces.
Oh my!
Holy cow!
Gosh.
Yeah. So he's made up for lost time.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. So hold on. So let me connect these dots here real fast, man. So you were at the genesis of a company, and you had a premature baby that you were dealing with, raising, whatever, at the same time.
Caring for.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
perfect.
Yeah. The hard part was, I mean, like little story. So we went to get it was just supposed to be a regular checkup. They were going to have a sonogram and I was going to go just to make sure. We knew it was supposed to be a boy, but I wanted to double check, because sometimes they mess up. So
I
went with on the appointment, and we go in there and they're like, well, you're having contractions. And she was kind of like, what? And so I'm just kind of like standing there, and then they're like, we need to get you to the hospital. And so they put her in a wheelchair, and they wheel her to the hospital. And I'm just like,
how far along is she at this point?
Is it 26 weeks or something like that?
Oh
Does that
my
sound
gosh.
right?
Wow.
Okay.
And so and I'm still like, what's going on? Like, we're leaving though, right? Like, we're just going to go to the hospital, but then we're leaving. But, you know, obviously we never did. And so they kept her, you know, is trying to prevent her from having the baby for like a week. And then, you know, he decided he wanted to come out. So he came out. And so he was I think it was 27 weeks when he came out. And it was
wow.
10 ounces. But the crazy thing is, so you have a baby, but then you're not leaving with the baby. So he was born in April, and we didn't get to bring him home until I think like mid-June.
I was gonna say June, probably.
Wow. So he had to get up to 5 pounds before he could leave. So
and those diapers were probably so little.
Yeah.
Those little stinky pants.
Yeah, teeny stinky pants.
Yeah, when I put him in the car seat, it was ridiculous because, you know,
he's like so swallowed up.
Yeah, he was just barely fit in there. You know, or put him in the corner and get another couple kids in.
Right. Jeez, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, but he's our miracle now. So he's a giant, and
I love that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Well, Wyatt, before you leave, I don't know how you can stick around as long as you want, homie. But before you do, we want to make sure we get all the bases covered. Are you a fan of ingesting tacos?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your favorite kind of taco?
Favorite type of taco? Jeez.
Like are you just like a ground beef guy?
Yeah, are you a
like,
white guy taco?
Like,
or are you
cheese and shredded lettuce, or do you like?
You do live in Texas. I mean,
he's,
you have some.
He's about to blow. He just had a little moment of relapse there, but he's about to blow your mind. Go ahead and tell him what the Sean.
Okay.
All right, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Sean is potato, cheese, refried beans. There's meat in there too. Eggs, meat,
bacon.
And in total, it's basically not even a taco. It's just a burrito at that point.
Right, yeah.
I felt my heart rate like raise.
Yeah.
Rattling off all those ingredients. I was like,
it's like every breakfast taco you could think put together.
Oh, gosh.
And where do you get this, or do you make this?
No, we get them from Mary's Tacos in San Antonio or Bernie.
Shout out, dude. Point. Mary's Tacos, dude.
Yeah. Maybe I can get a sponsorship.
Yeah, you should. We used to joke all the time when we first got this thing kind of going, kind of like Stinky Pants, like Tackling Tacos was a name that, like, you know, it wasn't super funny, but it's not typical. And we were kind of like, do we want to move forward with this? Whatever. And then when we finally landed on it, we started making these jokes. Like, what if we got sponsored by like Mission Tortillas and like wrapped the side of our boats with like a tortilla, you know, so it looked like a taco flying down the lake, or like, yeah.
You know, the tortilla blanket, you need one of those.
We have one. Our son Vinny has one.
You know, we got that for sure. We have a local, I think it's in Eau Claire, right? Chip Magnet.
Yeah.
There's this really dope salsa company here called Chip Magnet, and they don't know that they're going to be on our podcast. They know that much.
Yeah, I was going to say they know.
What they don't know is that we're going to like ask them to sponsor us like live on the podcast and just put the screws to them and be like, yeah. So if you guys want to sponsor us, we don't have a salsa sponsor yet, but
we do not.
Yeah. So that'll go well. You should definitely. So if anybody from Mary's Tacos listening to this, hit up our boy Jason.
Hit him up.
Give some sponsorship stuff there. So, so tell us about the style of fishing that as we look at the website is stinkypantsfishing.com. Yes.
Yes, sir.
stinkypantsfishing.com. Everybody go out there and hit it up, look it up. But if you go to that website, what you'll notice pretty quick is that the style of fishing you guys are doing for ocean fishing is, at least to me, in my ignorant Wisconsin brain, is semi specific and unique, like kind of like wading. Tell us about like what a lot of your products are made for, who they're aimed for.
Well, I mean, I would say they're made for wade fishing in the Gulf, but I don't think that's necessarily true, but I'll just stay with where you're at. But so, we're not in the ocean. We're in the bay systems, and we're wade fishing. And so, depending on what bay you're in, a lot of them are shallow, meaning like maybe 6-7 feet at the deepest. So like on the edges, or, in some of the flats and stuff like that, you can walk for a mile and, it doesn't get any deeper than waist deep or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so, it's, if you've ever been on a boat and you're kind of looking at a spot thinking like, damn, I wish I could get over there, but the guy driving is, going somewhere else. it kind of gives you that solution. You can go whichever way you want. And so the great thing about wading is you're really feeling the contour of the bottom. And so you get to feel like, hey, there's an impression, or, there's a ledge here. I'm in grass, I'm on sand, I'm in squishy mud. So you get to feel what's there. And, I think you can really tune into the fish a lot better. You're quieter and things like that. So it was a new thing for me. I mean, I grew up in Iowa. I spent about half my life in Iowa and the other half down here in Texas. So, I can kind of relate to some of the stuff you guys are doing, and I've picked up all the stuff down here too. So I know both things, but, yeah. So we fish the bay systems, and you can do it out of the boat, but you can jump out. And the cool thing about Texas is most of it is wadable, meaning like it's not super deep. It's not where you're going to, fall in super gooey mud and things like that. So there are other parts of like, I've waded in Louisiana. I know you could do it a little bit in Florida, although I found out the hard way how many sharks are there when I tried to wade that. I think there's even parts in like North Carolina and stuff. Virginia. I've heard of people that wade all around the coast, but it's, I think in Texas it's more of a big thing down here.
Pretty safe where you're at. Not so sharky.
I mean, no. I mean, there's sharks everywhere, but it's like anything. They just want your fish. They don't really want you. So, why you want to tell them the story of Papa and Krebs in Louisiana, the sharks?
Oh yeah. A couple of years back, and back when I wasn't as hardcore of a fisherman, and
well, you were tiny too.
Yeah, that's true. I got bored, so I decided I might as well just go check out what everyone else caught. So I packed up, just started walking around, and got to my Papa, and I lifted up his stringer, and it's just a half dozen heads just sitting there. Because a shark came along, just ate them all.
Oh my gosh!
My God!
They didn't even know though.
No.
Like, was it like he had the stringer on him?
Yep.
Yeah. So usually, I mean, so when you're waiting, that you got everything on you, and so like, I'll just jump right into it. So here's like my
perfect.
This is my waiting setup. So like and this is what I make. So I'll have this on here. Get this turned down here. So I got my tackle box here, and then I've got my stringer that I'll attach to. This is a wade strap that I make, but I'll attach the stringer to this, and so the stringer stays in the water. The fish stay alive on it, and then you just you keep walking. You want to catch the fish, you string it, stays alive.
That's so cool.
Swimming next to you, and so there's certain parts that are a lot more shark prone than others, and when we were fishing Louisiana, that was an area that we didn't really know. We were just hanging out with a friend and fishing, and so we didn't know there were sharks there. But I mean, they are. It's like if there's a lot of bait in one spot, what happens? There's fish. There's a lot of fish there. Then there's sharks there. So circle life.
Yeah, sir.
Circle life. So chill.
Yeah, we don't get attacked by sharks. I mean, it's honestly we don't see sharks very often, and I don't like to wade too deep. Like probably like knee to thigh deep is deep enough for me. But sometimes you get deeper if the fish are out there and you're catching them. You got to go deeper, but I prefer to stay shallower.
Yeah, that sounds so. Okay, so going back to your story, Wyatt, what did your grandpa do when he realized that he had this stringer of fish that just got bit off by sharks that are like, so if anybody's just listening to this, not watching it, Jason just gave us a great illustration of how this really, I think it's really dope, how specifically tuned into that style of fishing they're doing. This whole setup, it's almost like a backpack strap with a tackle box, and attached to that is like the stringer where they put the live fish because, they're going to be eating these things. So these fish are just about touching him. Right? I mean, is this correct on the stringer and the shark?
I mean, they're like, off? I make a 12 foot and an 8 foot. So.
Oh, okay. So the stringer is coming off of like the main setup.
Yeah.
But it's still they're pretty freaking close.
Yeah, they're close enough for you. Yeah, you don't want the shark much closer than that.
No.
I don't want the shark that close at all. So like, what did your grandpa do?
That's why you don't make a 6 footer, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. You remember what they did when you pulled them up?
Well.
What you went down to the next guy though?
Yeah, I went down to a family friend, and the same thing happened to him. And
oh my gosh!
Yeah,
so they're just lined up, and Wyatt's pulling them up, and it's nothing but heads on them. He goes to the next one, and neither of them had any idea that they'd lost all their fish. So,
oh my. And so is this normal for you guys? Like, is this par for the course?
Swimming
no,
hard.
that's not normal. I don't usually lose fish like that.
Okay.
But it's just, one of those things.
Yeah.
Probably, you guys have like encounters like up in Wisconsin and Iowa with like Loch Ness monsters and stuff that probably come up and take your fish, right?
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
I have had it happen with snapping turtles in the past, but nothing like that. No.
Yeah, I also feel real safe on my
pretty
boat,
wild.
not like waist deep in the water with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Dang
guess
it,
I should have prefaced when I had it happen with snapping turtles. I wasn't in the water. The stringer was,
Yeah.
You got to risk it for the biscuit.
I mean, you got to
That's
risk it
it,
for the
yeah.
biscuit. Yeah, that's a fact, Jason. You're right about that for sure. So tell us a little bit more then about sort of the genesis of the company, because if you go to your website, again, stinkypantsfishing.com, there's sort of an about section where you talked about beyond just the whole thing with Lil Stank coming into the world and the timing of that and the name of the company. But why did you start making parts and how did it grow to where it is now?
Okay. You want to stay? You want to take off?
I'm probably gonna have to go. I got homework.
Okay.
You got homework.
Little Stank's
Nice meeting you.
It was nice
We
meeting
appreciate you, Lil Stank.
Yeah, appreciate y'all letting us on here.
All right, now. See you,
Take it
buddy.
easy.
Yeah.
All right. Don't stay up too late.
Shit, I would never dream of it.
I wouldn't know because I'll be asleep. All right, so I gave you how the name came about, but so what happened was like I bought the top of the line stringer at that time, and this was 17, 18 years ago. So we're just about to celebrate our 17th year in business, and so I had bought a stringer that was supposed to be premium or whatever, and it fell short of what I thought it should be for a premium. So I've always kind of been like a handy guy, and so I thought, well, you know what, I could build something better myself. So I did. I made my first stringer, and then my friends were like, hey, will you make me one too? And so I was like, sure. And then all of a sudden it was like my friends' friends started asking for stringers and stuff like that, and then it kind of made me think, well, hey, maybe I could sell these or something. Who knows? And at the same time, I was going to school to get my master's. And so I learned how to make a website because I got some kind of technology thing, which is now worthless because what I learned way back then is not real technology anymore. But anyways, so I learned how to make a website. So I thought, well, I could make a website, and then if somebody would buy something, I could make it. And then, it'd be a cheap startup to try making a business. So I didn't have to, have a whole bunch of money tied up in inventory and things like that. So that's kind of how it started. I made the website, started making some, and I sold them more to like kind of my friends and stuff. But then all of a sudden, I got my first order, and we freak out, and wow, we're shipping a stringer and stuff like that, and so it just kind of slowly worked from there. And so I don't know if you said it on here or it was before, but anyways, I'm a full-time teacher, so that's my job, and so I never went into this like trying to start a business or looking to make money. I just made something that I felt like it was I wanted, and then I just thought, I could sell it because it was a needed thing. And so that's kind of always been my philosophy as far as business is I'm not trying to just make something to make it. I'm trying to put something out there that is better or is not out there, or something I can improve on.
Sure.
So how did your stringer differ from the other ones that fell short?
The material. So I don't know if other people made stringers out of what I did. So I'm using a vinyl coated stainless steel cable. And so the one that I had purchased was like a coated rope. And so normally like the normal stringers were just a piece of rope, and then it'd have like a knot on the end with the float, and then you'd have the stake. So I mean, I did not come up with a stringer, that's not my thing. I just tried to change how it was and make it a little bit better. Yeah. And so, the problem with the rope was like you talked about the snaggletooth trout. So a lot of the fish we have down here will have, big teeth. And so like flounder, trout, things like that, when you're trying to slide them on, those teeth are going to catch on the rope. A lot of times the rope will twist up and get, knots. And so, it may take you an hour to get the fish off your stringer at the end of the day. So I went with this material, which obviously it's very beautiful. As you can see, they've got like 10 different colors, but
it looks good.
It's, it's pretty bulletproof. Like, I've got guides and stuff who use it and have just tried to wear it out. And I mean, they string hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fish on it every year, and they hold up very well. And the other thing that I added to it, I guess the biggest selling point I feel like that I did is, so at the end of the float here, it comes off. So what you can do is you're done fishing, you just take this off, go like that, and your fish will just drop off.
Oh, that's so easy. Yeah.
Where
that's great.
Table or whatever, and then you can put it right back on. So I felt like that was a pretty good move to do that, and people seem to like it, and so and that's what I started with as a stringer, and I've just been kind of going from there. So a lot of the things I make are from the same materials, just different items, kind of all in the same wheelhouse.
Yeah. So how did go ahead, Nate? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just was going to ask, like, what made you kind of want to put a float on the end of it? I think that's a pretty unique idea, and I really like the way it looks, and I think it'll keep those fish kind of moving in the water. I like that, then versus just sinking down to the bottom sometimes when you get a bunch of them on there. But what made you want to put that float there on the end of it?
Well, I mean, the stringers that they have down here, they already had that float, or a float on there. So I didn't come up with that idea, but to me, the float on the end is your stopping point. So those fish can move anywhere they want up and down there, and they'll, they can slide and move up and down on there. And so, like when you're waiting, it really, I don't think the float really does much other than just keep it there, but it does keep the end off. So, if I'm walking in 3 feet of water, it could obviously, the fish could be wherever they want. I'm not wading in 10 feet of water, obviously. So I'm not worried about the end of it. And so like Jordan had the 8-footer, and that has a smaller float. It's actually the same size float.
Yeah.
I put on my keychain, and I have a lot of people that get hung up on that because it's such a small float. But again, it does the same thing. It keeps the fish from coming off. And what I like about it is I think it's easier on the fish. So it comes up so you know where the end of your stringer is, but those fish can pull it down underwater, and so they can go down where the water's cooler, and they'll stay alive better, and it's less bulky. So like personally, that's what I like to use, is that smaller float on my stringer. I'll keep my stringer coiled up on me until I catch a fish. So that may be like 3 weeks before I ever catch a fish. So it's a lot easier just to have it, kind of coiled up there and less bulky, when you're wading around. And I think this setup also, like, because you guys are Yankees, I think this setup's great though for like creek hopping and things like that.
So fun.
If you're walking, you're moving up and down a river or creek or something, you don't have to set your tackle box down and then move over and then you forget it where to go. So you can just go wherever you want. You got your pliers on you, whatever you want to have on there. I got like line cutters on there, my stringer if you're keeping stuff, your tackle box, things like that.
Dadgummit. That's so specific.
Our son Dom already claimed one of the boxes that you sent us, so I'm going to have to show him. Well, the strap goes on here.
He will be obsessed.
Yes,
he will love that.
He will love
he's such a strategic, like very like put the puzzle together type of guy. He's going to be pumped.
And he'll take his bike and he'll ride down to the lake or to the creek.
That's what I was going to say. Jordan's little story about riding his bike to that pond or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, that was.
Think of how much cooler you would have been with that Wade strap on.
See?
Oh, not only cooler, but I don't know if I even said this in the story. I had a bright blue JanSport backpack, and I would throw many things in there. I would throw lures in there just loose, and so then I would get to the spot and I go to take them out, and they're all buried in the bottom of the bag.
And you can't even handle a tangle of anything.
No,
how did you?
I don't. That's probably why.
That's probably where
I
it stems
can't.
from.
Yeah, that's the genesis.
Jordan.
Yeah, and then I would also throw, like, if I was going to keep anything, because back then when it was like when I was catching bass, when I first started bass fishing, it was back in like the 60s, 40s.
Oh, stop.
And or at least that's what it feels like. And like catch and release wasn't not a thing, but it wasn't really what it is now. So I would bring fish home to like eat them. So I would throw like 2-pound bass in my backpack and then just ride my bike back home.
Did they have
And so
lures stuck in their sides?
Oh, for sure they did. And then the bottom of the backpack was just like coated in like fish slime, and then it would get crusted on because I would never wash it off and it'd sit in the sun. And so the bottom of my backpack was as if you left like 3 pounds of like Elmer's glue in there and just left it because it got like hard and like it was like a different color blue.
Yeah.
That you had a stank sack, and that's
I did.
That's the name of my new.
That's what that is.
Coming out.
That's awesome.
Oh my.
Well,
gosh.
let's see it. What's the stink sack? Tell us about it.
All right. So I don't have.
Is that really what you're calling it too?
Coming out, but yeah, this is the stank sack. So it's just a duffel bag, but it's got mesh, so that way, it's probably. I mean, you can use it for a lot of different things, but you put your wet gear in there, and then it's not going to get all mildewy. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing I did is I added for the strap. It's my Wade strap, so you could technically take this off on the there, or if you just wanted to attach other things, like so it's got the 2 D-rings, so you can clip stuff on there, and then it's got the pouch where your forceps or pliers can go into.
That'd be a very good beach bag as well, because then sand would come out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
See, he gets it.
Multi-purpose marketing, Jason.
Yeah, let me write that down. I guess.
Great beach bag.
Yeah, all right, got it.
Throw your towels in. Catch some fish.
Yes. How do you come up with new products? Because what the reference I made was to a race car parts company I used to work for, and the way that they came up with new products on the regular was because the guys who run it and own it were race car drivers. They all did drag racing, so like stuff would break and they'd be like, dude, this breaks all the time, we should make a better one, which doesn't sound that dissimilar from the start of Stinky Pants. How are you coming up with new stuff to bring to market?
Like beach bags.
So
I listen to genius people like Lola, and I just say what they said.
Perfect.
It's hard to come up with new stuff. You'll have people hit you up with ideas, and sometimes they have good ideas, and sometimes they're not great ideas. Right. But I mean, I guess like I said, I fish. I try to fish as much as I can. I don't fish that often because I just get busy, and I live a long ways from the water, and then the water situation in San Antonio is ridiculous. But anyway, that's another whole story. But like when I'm fishing, I'm always, I just have that, I guess, mentality. I'm always like, how could I make things better? So not just with my business, but that's just how I am. Like, I have my room set up. How could I make it more efficient? How could I make it better? And so big thing. So when I'm fishing, I'm always thinking like, how could I make this better? Or if there's something I need, or, something that would, that's missing, those types of things, or if there's a product out there that I could make better. But it also kind of has to be in my wheelhouse too. Like I said, although I'm starting to branch out a little bit more, and I'm having stuff made that's not me. Originally everything that came from Stinky Pants, I handmade. And so most of it is still handmade, like all the stringers, the keychain, boga floats, that stuff is all made. But like now the weight straps, I'm not sewing that. I just picked up, I'm going to start selling these speed swivels. I don't know if you guys get on those with, in the freshwater or not. That's obviously not my invention, but there were not a lot of great companies that I knew of that sold them. There was just a few. And so I was like, I could sell them. And, I think it's I love using them. So I was like, I need to sell them. I just came out with some titanium pliers. So, obviously I'm not making these. I'm got my logo on those, but, I felt like the price that I'm selling those at now, before I rock your world and I tell you they're $200, it is steep, but when you look at
it's titanium.
When you look at titanium pliers, that's, a lot of them, if you look at like the Van Staal and stuff, they're $300-$400. So I'm coming in at $200, and I give it a lifetime warranty. So I feel like I'm bringing something to the market by
Absolutely. Man, that's really dope.
Yeah. Speaking of like new product development and stuff like that, do you follow like tournament fishing at all, or like bass fishing?
I don't really
Much?
follow much bass fishing at all.
Right.
They have tournament fishing down here with the same type, just different fish. No, I don't
Right.
follow a lot of bass fishing, and I don't know how all my products would translate to that. Obviously, you could use pliers, you could use the keychain float. Do you guys use boga grips at all? Do you know what those are?
Yeah. That's used a little bit for sure. But my thought was like your float style and the way you can customize them and make them your own and all that sort of stuff would be like cull tags. And I don't know if you know much about that.
Yeah,
but that would
that'd
be
be
like, the top, you keep your 5 largest fish, you put tags on them to let you know which ones are the largest or whatever. But yeah, using those floats and making your own like cull tags may be an opportunity to branch off into the bass market. And I think they'd look super dope with some Stinky Pants on them.
Yeah, I have had some people hit me up to make some calling stuff, and I haven't had any like genius ideas on how to do it, but I mean, I guess I have never put that it's a great idea. I don't, if I had something like, bam, this is how I'm going to do it, I probably would have done it. I just haven't thrown a lot of time and energy at something like that because I don't do it. And so it kind of gets put on the back, and I don't see much of it. So that gets put on the back burner. But, my game plan is at some point I'm going to be able to, hopefully in the near future, stop teaching and then try to do this full time. And then at that point, I think I'm gonna have, obviously I'll have more time, and I'm gonna probably explore a lot more different things that I just don't have time to do everything. If you can believe it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So do you have any employees? Like, is Lil Stank your employee?
He is my employee. So I hire a lot of my students, and so before you all start the sweatshop thing,
you're like, you're right.
Yeah, I have a whole calling process though. So like I get my kids for 3 years, so I get to see them and I get to know who they are, and so like I'll know who I need to ask work for me, and so I think it's a cool deal. Like they usually like doing it, so I'll have them come out and work, and they'll come out and hang out and feed them, and I do pay them a little bit, so it's not a bona fide sweatshop, but so Little Stank helps. My wife will help like when I get tackle shop orders and stuff like that. So when I gotta send out big orders, like she'll come and help me do that. I get a lot of help from my dad, so I get like a real unique situation where we live. I can't even say next door. Me and my parents share a driveway. So like I'm on this side of the driveway, they're on that side. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like everyone loves Raymond, only like even tighter.
Okay. Everyone loves Stank.
Yeah, but the old man helps me out quite a bit. So I'll go down the rabbit hole of him. So I owe a lot to him because he's like crazy smart. He's like, he doesn't have a degree in anything. So like how he can do anything, or how he does, not anything, but how he does what he does doesn't make sense. One of my buddies, he's from Jamaica too, so I may have to try to do his accent a little bit. But the first time he came over, and I met it, or I took him to my dad's shop and I showed him all the stuff that he's made and stuff. Like he was freaked out, and he grabs me and he pulls me to the side, and he's like, this isn't right. I'm like, what are you talking about? And and he's like, was he CIA? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, your dad should not be able to do this types of stuff. And so, yeah, he was all freaked out. So he thought my dad was some secret agent. He still thinks that. You wait, on his deathbed, he's going to tell you what, all this stuff. But yeah. So he's designed. So he watches me. So let's say like, when I first started out, like I'd buy the wire and, I get it in rolls. And so I'd pull it out, I'd have a tape measure, or I'd mark a spot on the wall. I'd pull it out, I'd go over with the hand dikes and cut them. And, and that's how I got my wire. And then, so that obviously sucked. And so he came up with, he invented this little, like, he took an angle grinder and he mounted it. So it's almost like a little chop saw. So that was great.
Right, you just cut it. Yeah.
yeah, so that was a nice improvement. You know, my grip strength went down, but it was an improvement. But then I don't know, he decided, well, we'll just build a machine. So now I take my big spools of wire, like I get them in 5,000 feet, and we'll throw it on this machine he made. And
we'll just build a machine.
Yeah, so
What?
it runs through this thing. He's got a computer on there. You type in how many you want, what length you want it cut. You hit go, and it just runs it out. Cuts
Wow.
it,
Maybe
out,
CIA. Maybe
Yeah,
that's about
maybe.
right.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he does it. I mean, and that's just one thing. Like he's done so many different things. And the key to it is you have to make him do it. So like he'll sit there and watch me struggle all day with it, but then I'm like, Dad, can you help me? And then all of a sudden, oh, we got to figure out something better. And so he'll go and invent some machine to automate it.
That's really
like
funny.
that. So,
what a cool dude. What's your dad's name?
Greg.
Greg. Well, shout out to Greg for being
Yeah.
a secret agent who confuses Jamaicans.
So wait, how did you get into fishing? Was it because of your dad? Did we talk about this? We didn't, did we? Okay.
No. So I grew up in Mason City, Iowa. Shout out Mason City.
Shout out. Shout out.
Sorry, Lola. I stole your thing.
No, it was so good. I loved
It
it.
was. That's up there a ways too. Mason City. That's up there.
Yeah. It's so anyway. So I grew up there, and so I did a little bit of fishing there. Not I wasn't like an avid fisherman, but I liked it. But I didn't have a lot of people that fished with me, so I was kind of like Jordan, where I would walk down to a creek or ride my bike or something, and try to catch a carp or whatever the heck was swimming in there. I mean, come to find out later on, there was all kinds of sewage and stuff, so it's no wonder I didn't catch much there.
Oh my God.
And same thing with Clear Lake too, but I think they cleaned that mess up. But anyway, so I didn't do a whole lot of fishing. I mean, I did some, and then I had the uncle that lives in Colorado also had a house in Wisconsin in Hayward, Wisconsin.
We love Hayward.
I know, and so we would go up there and fish. Maybe once a year in the summer and things like that. And so, I mean, I grew up fishing a little, and then when I moved down to San Antonio, I came down here to teach, and my mentoring teacher, Curtis Pearson, shout out Kurt. Here we go. Throwing out lots of shout outs right now. So he took me on a cast and blast. So we went down to the coast, and my main thing was we were going to duck hunt, which I did back in Iowa. But then, like in between, so we'd throw our decoys out, shoot in the morning, and then we'd go out and fish in the afternoon, and then come back and hunt in the evening. And so that's kind of where I got my first taste of the salt, is doing that. And I just thought it was so cool because like I'm reeling in just who knows what it's going to be. Like there's just so many different types of fish. And so I just like fell in love with saltwater fishing. It was just awesome. And so, yeah, I mean, that was, I don't know how many years ago, 26 years ago, maybe something like that. So, I mean, I've been in love with it ever since and fish as much as I can, but
I love that.
The question was, did I answer it?
Yep, you did great.
Yeah, you definitely answered it for sure.
I blacked out somewhere in there, but
no, you did well. So I feel like with you specifically, because I'm interested in a whole bunch of things. Everything from your hair to your job to
you mentioned skateboarding before.
Yeah,
we started
skateboarding
recording.
stuff.
Nice.
I mean, come on. But so tell us about your job. You're a teacher, but
Yes.
in our correspondence, I learned that your teaching is not like, I don't know if you want to say
Like a
normal or
second
typical
grade
teaching.
teacher.
What tell people what it is you teach and how that came about.
All right. So currently I teach at Construction Careers Academy, shout out CCA. And all right, you're getting a little slow.
I know. I got nervous. I didn't know I was supposed to.
All right. Yeah. So anyways, I'm a teacher at Construction Careers Academy. And so what this is it's a magnet school. And I don't know if you guys have anything like that up north, but I'm still part of the public school system, and I'm on a regular high school campus, but we specialize in construction. So anyone in our district can apply to come to this school. Then they have like a lotto, they get chosen. So we get like a little bit, I'd say better kids, because they're supposed to be interested in, coming and doing construction. So that's one part of the puzzle, which is awesome, is when you get kids that are actually want learn and do what you're teaching. And so they come there and then they choose a strand. So there's 6 different strands. They could do electrical, plumbing, engineer, architecture, carpentry, or construction management.
That's amazing.
I teach construction management, and so I get those kids for 3 years. So I get them their sophomore year for 1 period, and then their junior and senior year for 2 blocks. So I get the same kids for a lot of time. So and we do some crazy stuff. So it is a special thing. I mean, I'm sure there's different like programs like that around, but we're kind of one of the first ones to do it, and we get a lot of schools from all over the U.S. that come and visit us to try to figure out like what it is we're doing and how they can duplicate it.
Wow.
So like kind of like what's brought us a lot of attention is we'll build tiny houses. So like their junior year, we'll get these like 8 by 28 tiny house trailers, and then we'll build the house on there. So junior year they'll frame it, dry it in, and then their senior year they'll do all the interior. So ceiling, walls, flooring, cabinets, the whole 9 yards.
Gosh, that's cool.
Yeah. So hold on.
Really
So
sweet.
Jason, what you're telling me is you're teaching kids in school skills
Actual
they're
skills.
going to learn
They're going
or
to
use, I mean, in real life.
What?
Actual
What a
skills that they can
concept.
implement.
This is
Yeah.
I'm freaked
And
out.
I try to tell the kids that all the time, like even if you don't go construction, because they have to choose in middle school what they're going to do, and most kids don't have things figured out. I'm still trying to figure it out, but
Right.
but I try to keep it relevant and say, you're going to probably own a house, so even if you don't go and work in construction, you're still, all this stuff is still going to be useful. So you can fix your own stuff, or even if you don't fix your own stuff, at least you're not going to get the wool pulled over your eyes and have no idea. Someone comes in and gives you a shady estimate on something, you have an idea what's going on.
That's great.
Nate, can you imagine if we had something like that when we were in school? Like that's because Nate and I are both, I would say Nate more so than I, but we're both pretty handy dudes, work on our own vehicles, work on stuff around the house. And to think that we could have learned it, like, because at least for me and Nate, I don't know where you're at, but a lot of what I've learned over the years, I've done via effing it up and doing it wrong and then having to go back. Like I never had like somebody teach me, so much as like just doing it. Like how great would that have been?
Yeah,
that'd have been fantastic for sure. And something like you're saying, like construction management, that's not, you don't have to, kind of, isolate that into just construction. That's something that can, you can use that a vast variety of ways. So that's an awesome tool to be teaching for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. We get a lot of different, we're doing a schoolie, like I took a school bus and we're stripped it down and trying to make it into a house now. And so we do a lot of different things. We just finished a deer blind on wheels. And so we do some fun stuff, and, it was a good change. So I've been there for 7 years. Before that, I was in the middle school, and I was a PE coach and gym teacher, which, if you start figuring it out, like how do you go from that to that, it doesn't make sense, but
that's okay.
That's life. Why did you go from Iowa to Texas?
I mean, so like I didn't
CIA,
know, I decided to be a teacher. Actually, my mom's like suggested, because I went to college just to appease her, and so I didn't know what I wanted to do, and so she was like, well, you're good with kids, and what was your favorite class? I'm like, gym. So okay, be a gym teacher. So I did, and then. But, like my mom had the same gym teacher that I had. So there was not a lot of, open gym or PE positions in Mason City. Sure. And the starting pay was not good either. And I was, young, so this was a long time ago. And, I was looking for a big city. I wanted excitement and stuff like that. And so I went to University of Northern Iowa. And so when it was time to do my student teaching, they had the option of San Antonio, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, or places in Iowa. And so I wanted to get out, and I had been to San Antonio once before, so I put San Antonio as my first choice, Phoenix as my second, and I got San Antonio. And I knew that I was not going to come back to Iowa. When I moved down here, like I packed up everything and said I was going to stay. So I did my student teaching down here, got a job, and I've been here ever since.
Wow.
So when did your parents move down?
So after I had Wyatt, it was killing my mom. So she wanted to come down here, and I think it took about 5 years. I think they've been down here about 10 years now. So my brother moved down too. So he's 4 years behind me. And so he came down and got a job, lived with me for a while. And then, so now everyone was down here. And so,
wow.
My mom definitely wanted to come down, and my dad was, unsure of it. And then, so my mom just put an offer in on a house without my dad even seeing it.
No, are you serious?
I love her.
The selling point was your shared driveway, I assume. So
yeah, well, so how that happened?
Yeah, how does that happen?
Yeah, that's really funny.
Well, my parents bought a house, and there was a lot next door. So the owner, it looks like one lot or one house, but it's actually two lots. It just never like really divided. The previous owner was going to do what we did, and so they bought the house, and then we lived there a couple years. And then when they decided that they were going to retire and move down here, we built on the lot next to them, or on there. So we got, we share a well, and Dad's got a badass shop. It's just keeps growing. It's like a little over 3,000 square feet right now. So I get that's
crap.
That's where all the magic. That's where all the magic and Stinky Pants happens. So he's already put 3 additions on it, and he's already put a 4th. But so we just added on a wood shop / game room on there. So that's another thing I want to get into is some woodworking stuff. I mean, I do woodworking stuff now, but I would like to get more into it. And I've done some Sneaky Pants stuff. So I have a fishing lure rack that I made and sold. I don't know if I have it. It's literally right over there.
Can you move us, or is that?
Yeah, you know what? I probably
or grab it. Yeah, grab it and let us see.
I can't move the lure rack.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I can move this. I guess. I think.
Dude, your setup's pretty organized and clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So here, this is all.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know if you can see it very
well. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so we got the Stinky Pants routed in there. So that's one of the things Dad did, though, is he built a CNC router table.
Wow.
From nothing, which I don't know how you do that, but
yeah,
anyway,
I don't even.
So we made these lure racks, and I sold these for a while, and I need to make more of them, but again, it's just a matter of time.
Okay.
And we made cornhole boards. I'm doing an art piece now that I'm going to sell at the fishing show, the Houston Fishing Show, which is coming up, but it's going to have one of my t-shirt graphics that's routed in it on maybe like a 5-foot by 3-foot maple slab.
Oh, that's cool.
It's going to be like an art piece.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to do a lot more stuff like that.
So you seem definitely like a visionary. Are you constantly?
I don't know if I can.
It's flipping on you.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that looks awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's all routed in. So it looks like it's painted on there, but it's like it goes
actually in it. Yeah.
So it's pretty sweet.
So is that your main thing down there? Is redfish? Is that your favorite thing?
It's not. No. I mean, I like catching fish. My favorite thing to target is the trout, because they're kind of like the bass, as far as like, everyone's goal down here is catch a 30-inch trout. But I've been fishing for, I don't know, what I say, 20 something years. And I've got a 29.5. So, it's probably like, catching a 10-pound bass or something like that.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah.
So they're hard to come by. They're out there, but you don't catch them. You may fish your whole life and not catch them. The redfish, they're fun. They're bigger usually. They're usually easier. What's cool about redfish is, so when you're wade fishing, those buggers will get up like shallow, where you can see, they call it tailing. So you may be wading and you'll see tails, when they're feeding. You might see the wake. So it's fun because it's almost like hunting. Like you'll see them and you'll creep up on them, and you're trying to sight cast them. And so that to me is a lot of fun also. And they're fun to catch, but it's excitement of catching a big trout, because they don't come very often, is kind of where I'm at right now. But all the fish, flounder, are fun to catch. They're like a real finesse. They're hard to land. They got a real papery mouth, so they'll tear out real easy. And you may catch a 45-inch black drum. I mean, sharks. There's just so many different fish down there. It's exciting. You don't know what you're gonna walk up on. And
That would be so exciting.
Yeah. Which one would you say is the hardest fighting?
I mean, I've never caught a huge trout. They fight really well because they'll come out of the water kind of like a bass and shake and things like that. A huge redfish will, it might take you 20 minutes to get a huge redfish in. Over Christmas, I caught about a 15-pound redfish, and it took me probably close to 15-20 minutes to bring that in.
Wow.
That's so awesome.
Is that
those redfish look super muscular? But
yeah, they look
Jordan.
cool with the dots on their tails. And what is that a different species entirely? Bull reds, or is that just what they call them when they get really big?
Yeah, that's just what they call them when they get really big.
Yeah, I'm so ignorant. I don't know anything, so forgive my stupidity on ocean fishing stuff. But
yeah, I have the answers written down here. Otherwise, I wouldn't know.
Okay, perfect. All right, so here's another one that you may not have written down. What was that on the wall? Was that are you a boxer? What was that on the Iowa uniform?
Yeah, I used to dabble a little in boxing. I did Golden Gloves for Iowa way back.
Shut up.
That's awesome,
dude. That's dope, dude. I love boxing, man. Heck yeah, that's amazing. How did you get into boxing? Do you still do it at all?
No, I mean, I don't know. I guess I watched too many Rocky movies or something. I just always thought it looked pretty cool. Like I dabbled a little in like karate and stuff, and I liked the striking part. I couldn't lift my leg past my kneecap, so I wasn't real good at kicking. So I always liked the punching stuff. And so, I did. What did I do it for? 2.5 years, I think. I had one fight in Mason City at a boxing gym, and I learned real quick what boxing was. I didn't understand like you're supposed to cut weight and stuff like that. So I had my very first match at 178, and I got my freaking world rocked. I remember watching the video. I got hit, and so I went against a guy he was a very good boxer, and I became friends with him later on. But he was a southpaw, and I didn't even know what that meant. But I figured it out. The punches were coming from the opposite side, and
wait a second.
Yeah, this dude lit me up, and he dropped me, and I didn't even realize that he dropped me. And then when I was on the ground, I covered up. And the only reason I know that is because, luckily my mom watched or video recorded it so I could watch it over and over. And so
thanks, man.
That was my very first fight. And then after that was when I was going to good old Nyack. And then I moved down to Cedar Falls, and I got with a different boxing club and Cedar Valley Boxing. And those guys were legit. And the first thing I did when I walked in there, I told the guy, I box. And he's like, what weight? And I told him 178. And he started laughing and said, you're fat. You need to be 147. I was like, so I tried, and I dropped down to 156, and I did a lot better at 156 than I did at 178.
Okay. Those are all really good stories. And I really like the part about you like covering up after you're on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. I can talk about that now, because it was pretty embarrassing. Like if you've ever, you go to these boxing things, and they're just like in gyms or whatever. They're like little, or bowling alleys or whatever. They're not like what you see on TV. And so they just go there, and the coach just matches you up. Like, you don't know who you're going to fight until you see them. And I was the last fight of the night, and I was, nervous. I'm like, trying to figure out who I'm fighting. I'm like, oh, it's probably that guy. And then he gets in the ring, so I'm not fighting him. And then my buddy comes back, and he's like, man, I hope you're not boxing the dude in the bathroom. I'm like, why? And he's like, he was in there doing chin-ups on the stall. His arms are like that big. And so, that's who I fought.
Yeah. And he was a lefty. And he's a lefty, which you weren't ready for.
Down to 178, and I went.
Yeah, he walked.
I went
he
in.
Walks
there.
around 190, and
yeah, fighting weight's like 15 pounds lower.
Exactly.
He weighs in, then puts 15 pounds back on immediately, like after the weigh-in.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Exactly what happened, but.
Do you, Jason? Do you follow any boxing now? Like any like modern boxing? Any boxers?
Not a lot. Like I watched the Tyson Fury reality show. Does that count?
Is Tyson Fury a good boxer? Yes or no?
I mean, they said he's the best. I don't know.
He said
not
he's
very
the best.
exciting. I don't know. People say it. I don't know. I don't watch it as much anymore. It hasn't been as exciting. I think
Okay.
UFC is a little bit more exciting, but like, back in the day, like Tyson and some of those guys, man, that was fun to watch.
It was. Yeah. I feel like I was talking to somebody the other day. What weight class is Tyson Fury? He's a heavyweight, right? He's not a super heavyweight, is he?
No, he's a heavyweight.
Yeah, and we were talking like best heavyweights of all time, and of course like Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. That's always like the two right there, and everybody always says, "Oh, Mike Tyson versus Muhammad Ali, who wins that?" To me, that's not even a conversation. I think Muhammad Ali, 99.9 times out of 100 beats Mike Tyson, whatever. Anywho, and then he slipped in. He goes, "Well, I think Tyson Fury, whatever." I'm not even having a conversation with you anymore. Like that dude is not in the top 10 of heavyweights of all time. I'd put Tommy, what was his name, homeboy from Rocky V.
Yeah.
Because he was an actual he was an actual fighter. I mean, he was a little goofed up and had some mistakes in his life and whatever, but he was filthy for a while. And I don't know. We could talk about boxing all we want, but yeah, I'm not a big Fury fan. But whatever.
Well, the only thing that I think is slept on there is though he's like 6'9" though, so
yeah,
like he's a huge man. So I don't know. Was Tyson was he even 6 foot?
No.
Yeah, so
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean,
yeah. I think personally that's part of like being technical or like looking technical. Like Tyson.
That's
Fury
true. Yeah, he doesn't
so
look
big
good
and large. Like
he doesn't look good.
Yeah, but he's got such a long reach. Kind of like Lennox Lewis, and you can keep people away from you. So
Lennox Lewis was so slept on. He doesn't get he does get respect, but not maybe to the level that he actually the accolades. He killed some monsters in his day, dude.
Yeah.
I used to kind of goof around box with a feller. He wasn't like I don't think he was ever like a professional boxer, but his name was Robert Vargas, and he was 6'5" and he probably
like my height.
Yeah, about Lola's height, about Lola's build, real aggressive looking. And we would slap box, and his wingspan was just obnoxious, like just nonsense long.
Yeah.
And so we'd slap box or box the gloves on, and like I feel like they wouldn't even be like, all right, start, and I'd be hit like 4 times, and I'm like, where the F did that even come from? Because like Tyson Fury's arms were so long, the only chance I had was if I got in really close and could get some good like body shots on him, but then I had to take 35 shots to my forehead to get in close enough to do body shots. You know what I'm saying? So by the time I got in close enough, I was like, yeah. Like I couldn't even like think straight. But yeah, boxing is super fun, man. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Did you put the chalk on your hands like they do now? Did you invent that?
Yeah, that was all me. Yeah, that, and then I also invented the idea of having really narcissistic YouTubers become professional boxers. So I'm getting checks from all the Paul boys and all that stuff.
Wow.
So it's pretty exciting.
No relation that I know of.
Okay.
Paul, yes, right there.
His last name's Paul.
Yeah, not that Paul, not you, Paul. I hope you're not related to them boys. I hope not, but I'm not saying they can't fight. I just don't think they're boxers, but that's maybe a little too technical. Lola, let's shift gears. Let's talk tacos.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah. Hit this dude up with some tacos.
Well, we talked about Mary's tacos.
Mary's tacos, yeah.
Okay, so what's your favorite? What's the best taco you've ever had?
Whoa, heavy question.
Whoa.
I gotta go with Lil Stank. I gotta say the Sean at Mary's, but they have the Macho Sean, which is it takes it to another level. So instead of just potato and egg, it's like eggs ranchero and eggs papa or papa eggs or whatever they call it, and so it's got a little bit more zest to it.
Man.
But
Jordan and Nate are drooling.
So
like legitimately,
this place is legit because you look at it. Well, they've got multiple locations, but the first one I went into, like, it's a little bitty place. It's not big at all, and you walk in there, and there's like legitimately 20 people in this kitchen, and the kitchen's like the size of my shop right here, and they are serious. Like they crank out tacos.
They're going to work.
And it's just person after person, and they're coming through ordering 10 tacos, and they're just cranking them out. So, and they're open like awesome. They do breakfast tacos. They're open from like 6 to noon or something like that. So, so I think I heard you, Jordan, talk about you lived in Austin or something. So I got the same shock thing. Like I grew up in in Iowa, and so like the only tacos that we had were Taco Tico and Taco John's.
Yeah.
Your classic McDonald's breakfast burritos. So
they're so good.
The most authentic.
When I came down here, like the bar was not very high, and now I'm in like this is I think the 5th biggest like taco place per capita or something like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's tacos everywhere here, so
dang it, that's dope. Okay, so let me ask you another. I want to talk more about tacos, but you had me thinking about being down there, San Antonio. With you being there, how often do people ask you about the Riverwalk?
I mean, when I first moved down here, my friends would come down, and then you know they'd have to go. But so now no one comes and visits me anymore. So really, Riverwalk is not.
We're gonna make a trip.
Yeah, I mean we can come hang out.
You can restart it up and come on down here. But I don't go downtown, or like I said, I'm in bed at 8. I'm an easy kind of guy. But when everyone would come down when I first moved down here, we had to do a lot of Riverwalk.
There's always every time
I don't know what that means.
Anytime you hear anything about San Antonio, it's always like, oh, the Riverwalk. Oh, you got to do the It's like that one episode of Seinfeld back in the day where like you got to see the baby.
Oh yeah.
Like if there's anything about San Antonio, it's like, oh, Riverwalk. And like I remember I went to it, and it's not that it's not dope, but it was just so like Riverwalk that I was like, so we're just literally just walking by this little creaky river with like that's cool, I guess, like I don't know, like it wasn't bad, but it was like everybody like just built it up so bananas. So I just didn't know if you were how you felt about that. Tell Lola, Jason, what is the Riverwalk?
It looks like a sewer line that's exposed running down the I'm probably not going to get any. Can we edit that out?
Nope. Sounds glamorous.
It's a brackish looking little river that flows down a bunch of bars, but
it's not really a river though. It's not very wide.
No, it's like a man-made canal or whatever, and then they got like a little pontoon boat that some guy will go down and tell you stories about how San Antonio was born. I don't even know if it was even real stuff. They just make stuff up. Over there that happened. Okay.
Yeah.
See this building?
It's just this thing when you go to San Antonio. So the first time I ever went to San Antonio, Jason, on the same day, we did the Riverwalk and the Holocaust Museum. And so it was not the most like encouraging, fun day ever, but it was enlightening, I guess. So
isn't SeaWorld? Isn't there a SeaWorld in San Antonio?
There is a SeaWorld in San Antonio.
Yeah, I've been there.
Hey. SeaWorld. There's also a Six Flags, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
Yeah, so you can do roller coasters. You can see enslaved sea animals.
Oh yeah,
you can go on a pontoon ride down a sewer line, and you can talk about the Holocaust. So really,
lots of
if
things.
we're not selling San Antonio to the masses right now, I don't know what is.
I already see a mob out in my front yard with pitchforks running me out.
Don't mess with Texas, mother effer.
Yeah.
Don't you dare talk bad about San Antonio. So what's the most important thing on a taco, Jason? What makes or breaks a taco?
Well, I mean, to me, I got to have some spice. It's got to have something spicy or zesty or something in there. But I don't know. I guess the protein, the big killer. You got like fish or chorizo or fajita.
I love chorizo.
We started getting down on some Wagyu fajitas, and those are pretty good.
pretty cool. So keep more expound.
Right.
I don't know. They're just so good. I don't know.
Making these things or you buying these things?
No, like I'm actually grilling the fajitas. So yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's awesome. So that was gonna be my question. It was like, if you were gonna have tacos at home, do you cook? The wife cook? Like what would the typical taco night look like for you?
If it's going on the grill or it's going in the fryer, it's in my jurisdiction. Everything else, my wife's an awesome cook, and so I allow her to do that, so I don't get in her way.
Yeah, that's probably smart. Yeah. Do you make tacos at all? Because I mean, with the style of fishing that y'all do with like the stringer and the keeping fish, do you make tacos out of them at all?
Oh yeah.
Tell us about some.
I mean, probably like to me the best tasting fish that we have is flounder. It's real flaky. And then trout tastes pretty good. Redfish is still very good. Drum is good. Even sheephead are good.
So
but,
do you keep everything when you're, sorry, I'm totally interrupting.
wow.
When you're fishing, are you fishing to keep the fish to eat them? Or are
No.
you fishing for,
I mean,
okay.
it just depends. So
Okay.
I try not to, kill what I don't need. If we,
Sure.
don't have any fish here, next trip down, I'm going to keep some. But if we have some fish here, then I try to release as much as I can. I don't,
Okay.
I don't just, there's some people that, you just, I don't know, they just kill them because, you want to take pictures of them, or you just, whatever, you grew up like, you keep everything. And so if
Right.
you can't eat them, I'll give them to a neighbor or somebody. So I don't try to do that. I mean, the whole trout community down here is in a huge uproar because they're changing the limits and all that different stuff. They just switched from being able to keep 5 to 3. And,
Wow.
they're trying to figure out what, trying to make our fishing better, obviously. But
Yeah.
so there's just a lot of things with that, and I'm trying to support the conservation side of it. And so,
Sure.
I try to help out, programs like we have a good one called Speckled Truth that works with a lot of the trout fishermen and stuff like that, and give you knowledge and promotes conservation, catch and release, stuff like that. And so
That's cool.
That's really cool. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Back to fish tacos.
No, that's a good question. Yeah, because with the stringer and everything, you might think that they're just keeping, but no, yeah.
Yeah. So no, we try not to. But go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, if you were going to keep flounder and do fish tacos out of those, how would you typically go about preparing those?
So if I got like my favorite, which would be flounder, probably blackened is my favorite or just like pan fried, I guess, like little butter. What's that good butter called, Lola? You got to know, right?
The good butter.
Yeah, what's it called? The Kerrygold.
Kerrygold. Yeah, Kerrygold butter.
Kerrygold, or people use to make compound butters.
Yeah, my wife just introduced me to it. I was like, "What? There's a good butter?"
We've been getting Amish butter here lately, and it's insanely good.
It's a huge.
It's a block, and it's not uniform. It's like
it's like legit, like it's coming straight off the farm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah,
it's really good. Yeah, keep going though.
Well, I want some of that now. So we'll blackened or pan fried or something like that, I think is pretty good. And then cilantro or onions, or I guess it just depends if it's if it's blackened or pan fried or what. But
yeah.
All right. You put it on a tortilla. You going corn or flour?
Man. So. Man, I got so many stories I got to tell you now, so I got to come back. I need to tell you the shell story about Dad when he first came down here. But I mean, my favorite is flour, but I just revamped my whole life, and so I'm not eating grains and sugar and stuff. So I'd have to eat corn now, or actually, what I do now is I order a taco and I use the tortilla as the plate, and I'm just like eating it out of there.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways, so I'm probably not even going to eat a tortilla if we're being honest right now, but flour would be my jam if you were to ask me maybe last year.
So
I'm right there with you.
Are you not eating grains and sugar for like a health reason? Can I ask that? Is it a health thing?
No, you just violated my contract.
Turn it off.
So the reason I'm doing that is I've had like fits with my lower back where it just bothers me, like, especially when you go like fishing, for instance. Since this is a fishing show, we'll talk fishing. So like, I got to drive to the coast 2.5, 3 hours. Sitting kills my back. And then you get on a boat and you're, bouncing up and down across the waves. That's not good on your back. So there'd be like times where I can't even stand up. And I mean, I've gone to doctors, chiropractor, Rosti, acupuncture, massage. I mean, anything you could think of. I've tried it and I just wasn't getting any relief. And I think I went on some kind of steroid or something for tennis elbow. And then, of course, my back felt good instantly. So I figured, well, that must be inflammation. And so they say sugar and grains cause inflammation. So I was like, I'll try anything at this point. So I cut all that stuff out, and like day 4 into it, man, my back felt night and day.
Isn't that crazy? I had a similar thing with my knees, and they're hurting again because sugar.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that what you consume will just like wreck you. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm figuring that out now. Like, there's a lot more, I think, than what people understand of what you're putting into your body, what you get out of it, and so I think I'm just hitting the iceberg. But I feel so much better. I've lost like 20 pounds, and I wasn't even trying. Like, that wasn't the point of my diet. And I don't even call it diet, but like how I'm eating now. And the cool thing is because I've tried to lose weight before and stuff like that, and it's always, I don't know if it just gets in your head, but then you start thinking about, I can't eat, and then I'm hungry. And
yes,
so, like,
all you're thinking about is food.
Yeah, I'll eat as much as I want. Like, if I'll eat as much fish, as much sausage, as much steak, all those things as I want, and I'm not hungry. And so it's been pretty easy after, I was kind of a little bit of a sugar junkie. So, after like that first couple of weeks of, that kind of calmed down. And so, I don't even really miss it that much now. So it's been a good thing. I feel night and day better. And
good. Is it just processed sugars or whatever? Are you like eating fruit and stuff, or not?
So yeah, okay. I just anything that has added sugar. So I'll eat fruits. Yeah, I go crazy on dried mangoes. That's like
that's a candy. That's basically candy. Yeah.
Which in our family, though, because Lola's Puerto Rican, we're not allowed to say mango.
I'm sorry, it's mango.
Yeah,
mango.
We get yelled at if we say mango. She'd be like, "What did you ask for?"
I take.
I get it. I'm as white as they come, and the kids all like to laugh at me when I talk and stuff down here. So
that's funny.
Mangoes. Yeah.
You guys got some pequeño mangoes para me. So tell us the shell story.
Oh, okay. So Dad came down, and we went to this fancy Mexican restaurant, and he orders tacos, and he orders, and the guy says, okay, crisp or soft, and Dad says hard, because back in Iowa, they were hard shell tacos. Yeah. So, crisp or soft, hard. Crisp or soft, hard. Crisp or soft. So this like went on it felt like for 20 minutes, and I finally had to, I'm like, Dad, you want the crisp taco, so I had to eat it for him. But it was like, neither of them was gonna budge. It was crazy.
Hard.
Crisp or soft.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
What did your dad have a hard time moving from Langley then?
You mean Mason City?
Oh no, I meant in Langley, like Virginia, like where the CIA is located. So I'm still trying to wrap my brain around the fact that your dad made a CNC. What did he make?
Router.
Yeah,
he's in the process of making a CNC mill right now.
You don't make that. You don't make that.
I know.
You,
I don't know.
You buy that for exorbitant amounts of money.
Yeah.
For like $100,000. You don't make that.
The bad thing is I try, like I hang around him, and I'm like, okay, I'll pick up on it.
Yeah.
But no, there's something. Yeah. I don't know. I have a mutated gene or something. I can't figure out. Like, if he wants to do something, he'll do it. It doesn't matter if it's electrical, woodworking, metal, computers. Like, he just, okay, he'll go look up, and he'll come back the next day. This is what I'm going to do. And so him and I balance each other out really good, because he's like way up here thinking, and I'm way down here. And usually the solution is in the middle. So usually, kind of have to go around for 15 or 20 minutes arguing about it. And then, we'll figure out we're talking about the same thing, and then we'll agree on something. But
that's good.
Yeah. I'm simple. He's complicated.
That is a good combo, though, to have both together. I mean, I say this quote.
Dynamic.
Yeah, I say this quote all the time. It's one of my favorites, but Ken Blanchard said that none of us is as smart as all of us. Like somewhere in the middle between your thought and my thought, whether it's creative or deeply intellectual, somewhere in that confluence, that's where like the sweet spot lies, like for sure. So, well, before we let you go, man, a couple more questions, if you're okay with that.
I'll allow it.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you. The first one is where are you trying to go with Stinky Pants? Where do you see this in the future?
Well, like I said, I would like to do it full time. I talk to my kids all the time about like following their dreams, and I feel like it's time for me. I'm getting to that point where I need to do that myself, and just throw caution to the wind and do it. And so I would like to take it full time. I want to keep doing what I'm doing. So I'm in conversation with Bass Pro right now. And so hopefully I'm going to be in there.
That's awesome.
In the immediate future. And, I think like right now I have like most of my business is in Texas because, that's where I'm at and, things like that. But I've been getting outside of it, but it's all been organic. Like I don't pay to advertise or things like that.
That's
so
awesome.
I think I would like to get Stinky outside of Texas more because I think there are parts of it that you could use freshwater, up in Minnesota and Iowa, all those different places, not just waiting, but, people, if you go to like any Walmart in the US, they're going to have that little, chintzy $3 stringer, little rope stringer with a little itty bitty spike on there. So I think the stringers could sell anywhere. Same thing like those wade kits. If you're, want to be mobile and walk around, you don't have a boat, those types of things. So I would just like to get further outside of Texas more, get in more tackle shops, things like that. Maybe do some shows if I could not teach and I could travel and, kind of spread the word of Stinky Pants, the teachings of Stinky.
Yeah. The Stinky gospel. So what do you need to get there? I mean, is it like a deal like Bass Pro, like a big box store? What do you need to get to where you're trying to go?
I mean, probably just the balls to do it. I mean, I don't think I'm ever, because teachers make such a great income. That's
right.
I don't think I'm ever going to get, like, my business is never going to get to that level while I'm doing it. And so I just have to have the faith that if I do quit the teaching, that I can get the business up to that level. So, like it's hard because, like we're comfortable right now. And I hate to take something away from Wyatt and say, hey, you can't do, the things you're doing now. We're eating peanut butter sandwiches, for another month because I didn't sell anything type of, I'm afraid of that. I think if it was just me, I would be a little bit more try it. But at the same time, like I know my family's going to support me and I know deep down I can do it. I'm not going to, worst case scenario, I can always go back to teaching, but I think I just need to, let her rip and just throw in the towel from teaching and try it.
I mean, your students will be sad, but I encourage you to go for it. I mean, really, truly, you have a family that will back you up and you just need to say or stop managing the outcome. Like, well, if I don't do this, then this could happen. I mean, it's good to have some sort of like reality awareness, but don't let that hold you back because you're already doing great things. So
And think about the last time you took a risk, maybe not the immediate last time, but you moved from Iowa to Texas. That worked out pretty well. That's a pretty huge leap of faith, man. We're not trying to preach at you. I'm just thinking like to me it seems like you're kicking butt and taking names on the Stinky Pants thing. So I do get why it's scary. Like we had a guy on a couple of weeks ago, Jason, named Trey Harpel.
I heard it.
Okay, yeah. So he's a lure cleaner or reel cleaner, custom lure painter, whatever. Like he had a job at Apple, like a super consistent job, at which, by the way, I really like Apple's model of stuff. Kind of, it reminds me honestly a little bit of your model of things, of like not necessarily inventing the wheel per se, but just taking the wheel and making it rounder, or like just making it better, like taking stuff that's there and making a better version of it. Like Apple's never invented anything. They didn't invent the phone, they didn't invent the tablet, they didn't invent the computer, they didn't invent the watch. They just take stuff and make it really good, expensive. So that's basically what I'm telling you, Jason. Just double the price on everything you sell, and then you don't have to sell as much. But but no, man, I think you could totally do it. You could kill it.
He said we're not trying to preach you. I am.
Well, my son, I got to wait at least 2 years though, because my son's a sophomore, so I can't bring him to school with me and then leave school. So
drop him off.
we're gonna have to graduate together. So
that's really dope. That was like the cutest thing I've heard in a long time. Yeah. Also, I don't think anybody's seen this yet, but this is like I said, we we spoke with Jason for a while about being on our show, trying to, just line up stuff and dates and times and whatever. And he's like, well, I want to send you guys some stuff. And we were like, no, you don't have to do that. He's like, no, I want to see it because, he knows it's different than what we're used to. And so we got this in the mail, and I think Nate got one too, but.
Yeah, I did. And it's so rad.
It has our logo on it.
It's so dope.
Cool. It came out so clean. I love it.
So
thank you for that.
We started doing, you're welcome. It did come out great. So we started doing like some custom work to try to, drum up some different types of business. So
sure.
I just figure like companies or tournaments, things like that, where, you're going to go and pay to put your logo on a golf ball or, a t-shirt or something like that. You got a different route you could go. You could get stringers, keychains, boga floats, whatever, and get your logo put on there. So we started doing that.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's exactly kind of like what I was saying earlier with like, if you ever look to like expand into the bass market, like every tournament angler is doing all they can to promote their brand and to put, their logo or even a company that they're working with. Yeah. Exactly. Their personal logo or even a company that they're, highly affiliated with, put their logo on these floats, and they're catching fish all day long on camera, culling fish, and, putting these floats on them. I think that could be an awesome opportunity for you. I think that'd be, I really like it a lot.
Yeah, I think you got a good idea there, Nate. If you got some ideas and drawings and stuff, if you could just...
I mean, honestly, for what it's worth, as Nate was saying it, can you find that littler one again?
This?
Yeah. So this one, like the rad thing is here is if you had it just on like a straight string. So like on my boat, when I flip open the live well, our boat, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
You flip open the live well, and there's like a little 3D printed piece of plastic that has little clips on or little holes on it to clip the cull tags to. You could have that, but just like a slot with these like hanging in there, So like this is like the stopper on top, and then just clip those on. That would be, and they just look cooler.
Yeah.
They're better made than the stuff that I bought. Yeah, I think that'd be a super good idea.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I got to get on it.
There you go.
I mean, Texas, as you may or may not know, has some decent bass fishing in it. So
a little, there's a few tournaments that go on every year down around that area.
There's a few lakes that have a few big fish. But Jason, how can people find you on social? We already said your website a couple times, but please feel free to say it again. The year turbs, whatever else. How can people get linked up with what you got going?
It's Stinky Pants Fishing all day. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube.
Going for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much, man. It's I don't know. like I run the business by myself, and like I see why there's someone that they pay to do social media. Like dealing with trying to get with Bass Pro, like I'm ready to pass this stuff off to HR, but I'm HR, so
you're HR.
Yeah, you just slide over to the next desk.
I didn't get any smarter is the problem when I do that. So
yeah, dude, I remember when I first started hearing of social media, like nomenclature, like, oh, my job, I'm a social media manager. I'm like, that's not a job, dude. That's a job nowadays. Like the constant never endingness, figuring out different algorithms, finding times where like the engagement's higher with certain groups on specific whatevers. And then hashtags are a thing. Hashtags aren't a thing. And now Instagram is all based on reels, and reels are filmed vertically. And I mean, it's a constantly shifting, multiple platform deal
and all that stuff.
I
had a girl hit me up and asked, she wanted to be the social media person for my company. She had no idea that my company's a one-man show, but so I was like, oh great, because I hate doing social media. So I'm like, what's that gonna run me? And I think I forget what it was, like, it was basically the same as what I'm getting paid right now as a teacher who's been teaching for 24 years. I was like, the hell out of here. Maybe another time. I'll keep fumbling through it myself, but there's I don't get enough into it to know all the algorithms and all that crap. But I know there's things to it, and it can help, but it's a nightmare.
It is. Well, it's a crazy thing because it's a huge free marketing platform essentially for businesses.
But like,
now,
what is your time worth?
That's exactly it. But now everybody knows that. You know, if you jumped off on Instagram 15 years ago, you could quite literally, quite easily build your entire business on it.
Yeah.
But now, because of the 12 million companies trying to do it the same way, and it's almost, I mean, honestly, on some level, it's sort of like podcasts. Like everybody has a podcast, so now it's a little harder to stand out and whatever. But you know, it's still a cool thing that you can utilize if you do it right. So, anything else you want to throw in, man, before we let you go to bed and you're asleep within the next 30 seconds?
Man, I don't know. We covered a lot of stuff. I don't know. I think some of my students will watch this, so I'm just going to give them the shout out. Love you guys. Keeping it real.
Oh,
shout out to the students, dude. Yeah, hold on. Which one's the cheer?
I don't know.
Dang it. Shout out to the students. Mr. Paul's students. Thanks for watching this.
Oh,
we appreciate you. And honestly, man, I really hope your students actually recognize what a cool teacher they have. A guy who actually cares about what he's doing, a thoughtful fella.
I'm sure he's a favorite teacher.
Doing something a little less typical. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I get along well with the students. And that's why I keep doing it, because you know, I'm going to have to prolong this. Can I have another 30 seconds? Is that okay?
You can have another 30 minutes if you want.
Okay. So like, I think I'm on my 24th year or something like that. But you know, like having a son and then just getting older and stuff, like you go through a progression of, you know, where you started and where you're getting to now. And and the biggest thing that I've noticed from my teaching, or what's changed in my years of teaching, is that I love my students, and that's made all the difference in the world, because when you're genuine with that, I mean, kids can see through BS, and
no doubt.
And you know, when they know you care about them and they care about you, and you know, you get invested, and it's a way better deal. So it makes
we spend so much time together.
Yeah, we do.
I mean,
and
so
that was the hard part. So when I had to give up coaching, and I quit coaching, not because I didn't want to, but I was running out of time. So between teaching, coaching, and doing the business, I didn't have enough. And so I really thought I was going to miss that relationship you get from coaching. But luckily, when I moved to the construction careers, I still get those bonds because I have those kids for 3 years. And so,
that's cool.
You know, I get to really see them grow and, you know, build great relationships. And so I kind of feel like I'm a construction coach in a way, you know, type of thing.
Yeah. Oh. Well, that's awesome. Well, I think we'll let you rip there. But Nate, Lola, you got anything else you want to throw at Mr. Stinky Pants?
This was so good.
Yeah, this was amazing.
Yeah. I learned a lot.
Sure. I learned a lot, dude. I'm sorry that we probably asked a lot of questions that were really stupid because of our lack of saltwater knowledge.
No, there are no stupid questions.
That was a good teacher.
It's you know, like saltwater is it's especially for I think I hear a lot of people compare redfish and bass fishing the same kind of like techniques. Sure. But I think, you know, the difference is, like I said, you can see them up close, and that's also part of the fun. You know, I was going to ask you guys though, like what visual things. I mean, I've bass fished, but like not where like if I'm out on a lake and I'm looking around, like, do you guys see stuff on like, hey, there's probably fish over there, or is it all like you're going your sonars and stuff like that? So like, what do you see like on top of the water or things like that that's going to say, hey, there's fish there?
Nate, do you want to jump?
Yeah, I mean, you know, typically you could kind of look at like contours of the land, the way it lays as it reaches the water. A lot of times that can give you an idea of maybe how it transitions down into the water. A lot of stuff with like aerial birds in the area. You know, if there's bait in the area, there's going to be birds in the area feeding on that bait. If there's bait, there's fish, you know. So, you know, a lot of guys say follow the birds, and I imagine you see a ton of that stuff down around the Gulf area. So,
yeah, for sure.
A lot of that stuff would kind of translate up here, you know, as well. So,
yeah. So some of the things though that I see different, I guess, than like we see the birds, but like you may actually see, like I said, you'll see the tails when they're up shallow. You'll see the wakes. Yeah. You'll hear the blow ups. The trout will, like when they're feeding, they'll regurgitate. So you'll get an oil slick. They call it like a trout slick. So you'll see stuff like that. So
that's cool.
Like, you know, like you're always looking, and so it's fun. So you're not bored. You're always kind of just trying to observe, trying to figure out, you see, bait flickering and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things we're looking for. And, saltwater fishing is, like I said, there's just so many different fish you may stumble on. You don't know what you're going to catch. And it may be a little dink, or it may be, a bull red or something that just, spools you. So you just never know. There's so many cool things. Like, and then we even talked about, there's lots of other types of fish, like a Jack Crevalle. That thing, like most people say, after they catch one of those, they don't ever want to catch one again because they just wear you out. It's like a 45-minute fight. But it's a cool thing, like come down and try it out, book a guide or something, go out and see what it's all about. It's fun. And it's fun to do different types of fish. I think that's also one of the things I like doing and learning from my business. Like I'll go and I look at like how do the fly fishermen, because they're waiting, like how do they set their stuff up? Like, is there something that I could introduce down in the salt like that? Or, I like to look at all the different types of stuff. I just love fishing. So I think it's always cool to see how things are done different ways, and sometimes it's for the same purpose, but they're just different ways of doing it.
Yeah, I love that. So two things. One thing that I like to do when I'm bass fishing, especially kind of mid-ish summer when the water's getting warmer, but it's not like super hot yet. One, like Nate said, looking for birds is a good one, but also I use my ears a lot. So like when you get by like lily pads and top thick, like we call it the cheese, like that thick scuzz. Yeah, you listen for that. And a lot of times that'll be little bluegills trying to find more aerated water. They come up to the top to get more oxygen. They pop around, and a lot of times, just like you said, the smaller fish bring the bigger fish. We don't have the sharks patrolling, but those bass will come in after those little bluegills and whatever. But let me ask you something kind of on a side note, Jason, if you're cool with it. What advice would you give? Because one thing I really do like about the era we live in right now, 2024, is with social media. I think it helps with YouTube and just the internet in general. I feel like there's a lot more people who are willing to risk it for the biscuit, people who are willing to be a little bit more entrepreneurial. What advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about starting their own company?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is it's hard work. I'm sure you can attest to it with the podcast is as you start to do it and it gets bigger, and then you get like a hat and a t-shirt, and you get a little merch and you get some followings and stuff. And people see that and they think, oh, that's cool. I want that. Yeah. And so that's they're seeing usually not the first year or whatever. They're seeing the blood and sweat and tears, but they don't see it. And so I think a lot of times people don't realize all the hard work and the sacrifice that you have to put in order to do that. So I see so many businesses pop up and then they go away. And I think that's probably it's cool to get out there and, hey, make a decal, make a t-shirt, get your name on there. But when it turns into, hey, I'm working on a weekend, or I got to do something before work or after work and stuff. Yeah. And when it starts to turn into that grind and it's not sexy anymore, you got to be ready for that. And, it comes down to hard work. I think anything, like the people that put in hard work and are willing to do what others won't are successful. And it's no different in being an entrepreneur. It's if you believe in it and you'll chase it, you can be successful. But if you just think it looks cool and, I want to, have a little bit of fame or, my own swag and stuff like that, you're going to be the one that pops up and goes away, So I guess that would be my biggest thing is just, if you're ready for the hard work and you're willing to do it, then, chase that dream and go out there and do it. 'Cause it can be done. There's so many different ways, like I said, I started with the website and you didn't even have to have anything, it's pretty inexpensive to start it up.
Yeah. That's great advice.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. Really good advice. I wouldn't normally quote this feller, no diss on him. He's also an Iowa guy. But Ashton Kutcher, of all people, every time I say that name, I think of that episode of The Office where Kevin has a wig on. He's like, nope, it's not Ashton Kutcher. It's Kevin Malone. Anyway, Ashton Kutcher once said that your dreams coming true usually just looks like really hard work. And I thought that's such a simple, insightful statement, because that's exactly right. People see the shine. They don't see all the work it took to get to that spot. Yeah. It's like if you're a bodybuilder, people are like, oh, dude, I want to be ripped like that. Well, What did homeboy say, Nate? What did Ronnie Coleman say?
Everybody wanna get big, but don't know want to lift these heavy weights. That's it. You know?
That's not what he said. He said heavy ass weights.
These heavy ass weights.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
That's
it's true.
exactly
People want to succeed, but they don't want to put in the work behind
Yeah.
closed doors to get there.
Like I want to be a runner, but I don't want to actually run.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to get sweaty and stuff, you know?
Yeah. Or they'll do it for a week. They think
Or
it's
that.
a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just can be misleading looking at it. You know, they see where you are and they think, oh, you know, that's easy. I could do that. But, you know, most people don't see, you know, the behind the scene when you're grinding.
Exactly.
And, you know, like they're going to be listening to this, you know, whenever they want to because it's a podcast, but they don't realize it's, you know, 10:15 p.m. my time. You know, it's like 2 hours way past my curfew. It's so,
Same.
you know, like, we're putting in some work here, you know, and so.
We're hitting the OT hard. That's Jason's sort of surreptitious way of being like, stop talking.
Good night.
Yeah,
I'm out of here.
I wanted to tell you because I know you're both Packer fans. So way off topic, but I got a former student who plays for the Packers, Ben Sims.
Really?
Yeah, he's a tight end. It's his first year, but I think he's a walk on, but he's made a few catches, and so it's pretty awesome. I coached him in 7th grade football and basketball.
What, dude? That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Shout out Ben Sims.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Go Pack, go. Yeah, dude, that's amazing.
Unfortunately for you guys, I'm a Vikings fan, but
that's unfortunate for you, really. How's your trophy case looking?
Like a lot of Kleenex and
Oh,
dude. So you know what's funny though? So like through this podcast a little bit, and then through some of the clips I've seen from that quarterback show on Netflix, dude, Kirk Cousins has to be one of like the most likable dudes to me. Like he's just such an authentic dork who doesn't care. I saw a clip. Who showed me this the other day at training in Madison? Somebody showed me a clip. Apparently, I didn't know this was a thing where like his wife picks out all his clothes, like for like press conferences and stuff. And apparently he wore a shirt or something, like just like a super simple, like, and I'm finding it funny that this is such a topic because half these dudes show up to press conferences just looking like a crazy mess. And he shows up in like a really kind of dorky, like button up plaid shirt and all that. Apparently it like blew up online and people are like, why is Kirk Cousins showing up sponsored by Kohl's in 1990 and like all this crazy stuff. And people are like, oh, my dad's closet's on TV right now and all this, whatever. And he thought like, he's reading these comments on this clip and he's laughing out loud at the comments, making fun of him. And I'm like, how could you not like this dude?
Yeah. Well, and so you see how dorky he is. And then when you see him with his shirt off and the chains, it's like that's what made it that much better to see him in that type of thing.
We love Kirk Thuggins. Yeah, that's our favorite for sure.
Oh, Kirko chains.
Yeah, Kirko. Yeah, but the funny thing is too, is like he's being a dork in that too, but he's actually kind of cut up. Like he's actually you know, the dude's in shape. But all right, let's end on the topic of Kirk Cousins with no shirt on.
All right.
Yeah. So Jason, we appreciate you so much, man. Yeah, that's perfect. So anybody out there who's listening to this, please hit our man up, stinkypantsfishing.com. Even if you're primarily a bass fisherman, there's a lot of stuff there, a lot of creative stuff that what you're seeing in the fishing world right now, especially in bass fishing, people like Ben Milliken and other really big names are using things from different parts of fishing, be that crappie or walleye or whatever, to push themselves. This could be a thing too. A fellow who's doing some pretty specific stuff that absolutely could play in the bass world. So Jason, we appreciate you. We wish you nothing but the best of luck. You can hang up and we're a big fan. So thank you.
Thanks
all right,
so
man.
much.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely,
all right,
man.
Brother. We'll see you later. Thank you.
Take it easy.
Dude, what a cool cat, dude.
That was so fun.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's
awesome. the epitome, right? Like this. Oh, I'm stretching because he's right. It's like way too late
I know,
for a 42-year-old man like myself. But that dude is the epitome of the vibe of like, oh, give me like 2 more minutes, and then like SpongeBob, like 30 minutes later, and then it's like, oh, this other thing, like we could talk about Kirk Thuggins.
Yeah, I love it.
We could he's just an authentic fella, and
now he's our friend.
Now he's our buddy for sure, dude. That's absolutely the dude. If he stopped by the house tomorrow, there would be nothing awkward about it.
No.
It wouldn't be like, it'd just be super friend status, like automatically.
Yep. Love that.
Yeah. What'd you think, Nate?
Super cool vibe. I honestly I loved it. Like you said, super awesome dude with a real unique product line that I think it really has the opportunity to kind of expand. Like he's kind of has that vision to like get it not just the saltwater game, but kind of expand outside of that. Like me growing up as a kid, like pond hopping and riding my bikes to these different creeks. Like how great would it have been to
That's
have
what I'm
that
saying.
wade kit,
Oh my
back
gosh.
then where you have a
It'd be
box
incredible.
with a strap that you can throw on and ride your bike and you've got
Yeah.
pliers or whatever you need in it. That would have been absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dom's gonna be stoked about
So this is a
Even,
like a
like,
kind
the
of like a, I don't know if
strap.
it's a Flambeau brand or whatever, but it's one of those waterproof boxes. And then it has a riveted waterproof little chain attachments on the back. And then you have this made in-house strap that will go on it. And then on the strap, there's little attachments you can hang off your, like in this case, you could hang off like a trout net.
pliers.
You could do your pliers there on the little Velcro thing. I mean, this is just a very specific thought through deal this guy is doing.
Yeah.
But
hang
completely,
your
like you
stringer
said,
off of it.
yeah, it's so translatable to pond fishing, to creek fishing. When I was a kid, me and my buddy Noel Starrett, shout out Noel Starrett, we would
Shout
fish
out.
in little creeks. And I remember the day that the light bulb went off, Nate, where we realized if we walk upstream, we can see where we're fishing. Because, if you walk downstream, all the soot and the sand and whatever goes right down with you, and you're going to see, and you can't see because where you just walked, you're blowing it right into. When we started walking upstream, it was like, oh my gosh, we're the smartest dudes in the world.
You're so cute.
Absolute game changer.
Game changer. Man, boy, that dude and Patrick Mahomes are fighting it out for most annoying people to me.
Oh my God.
But look at this thing. Look at how cool this setup is. Hold on, I'm going to put you full screen, Lola.
Maybe I'll just wear it as a purse.
How do we do this? There you go.
Huh?
There it is.
But look at it. So then it's got these little like straps and stuff on the strap, like little clips where you can put your other things. This is for like your pliers, the little Velcro thing. I'm sorry. I mean, it's just a really cool, sorry. It's just a really cool, smart, thought out deal. And tell me this isn't like the dopest cull bubble you've ever seen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. Like if he was, able to, design those and put it,
would you put numbers
logos
on it, or what would it be?
Yeah, you could put logos. You could put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
and
or
different
whatever.
colors.
You could put like a different
different color
inside in the pants, or different colors of bulbs.
Oh,
or
that's good.
There's so many right in the pants. Yeah, if you put like a 2, 3, 4, 5 right in the pants, like
in the pants.
That's so awesome. Such a dope product that, again, I think it's very translatable to kind of what we do and what we're more familiar with, but so awesome. And then, like he said, with the like fly fishing, like if you took that box and added like a foam insert inside of it where you could just put your flies right in it, like
you could hang your fly fishing net on the strap, and there's so much here that could be used in so many other.
And then he drifts off to grab something from the goodie box. Oh, he's showing off some stickers. Just hold on, ladies and gentlemen.
The dude has some dope stickers. So he has one that literally just says Stank on it. Like, that's dope. And a couple rad colors. That's just rad.
Heck yeah.
Stinky Pants, that one. There's one with the little, he has a fly logo, which to me feels,
Vinny likes that one.
It says Stank Nasty on it, but it feels sort of like what they call that, rat fink? Isn't that what they call that? Like that hot rod style.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up that Stank Nasty logo. I really like that. I think that's
super
Vinny
funny. Loved that one. He's like, I'm putting that in my water
bottle. And then just
bottle.
the classic, which I thought was really funny. He said that one I kind of churched up.
Right.
Churched it up to put the Texas logo in it. But yeah, just an authentic dude. Cool products, smart stuff that I really think there's some, like you said, Nate, there's some markets that he's not tapping yet.
Sorry, there was a mosquito on your finger, like an actual mosquito
in February in northern Wisconsin.
What's happening?
Global warming.
Oh,
inconvenient truth.
Okay.
Al Gore invented the internet.
Oh, wow.
So before we let it rip in the next one, before we cut this one off, let's talk about sponsors for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I want to get specific. One of my favorite lures. It's not really a lure. It's a tube thing. But one of my favorite parts, I guess is the word I'm looking for, that Giltech makes. Giltech is one of our sponsors, along with Hook and Arrow Supply, which you can only get at Hook and Arrow Supply Co. Hook and Arrow Supply Co. Co.com. Is the tube jig that they make. So they make a tube jig that is just, if you've ever thrown a tube on a tube jig, it's basically the predecessor to hover strolling. Has nobody else ever thought about this?
What does that mean?
That's pretty accurate for sure.
Is it not the same effing thing from like 45? It's like with Berkeley coming out with this whole like the Credge. Oh, you mean the Jackal Riser that's been around for 15 years?
Oh, I know what you're saying now. Okay, sorry.
Or even, and really, like if people want to talk the talk, I wish Ken Duke was on right now because he knows everything about
everything.
Yeah. And if you haven't checked out Ken Duke's new thing, Bass After Dark, it is hilarious. Like it's really good.
Awesome.
It's well produced, and he is so articulate. And the first little bit of every episode is him in a tuxedo sitting in a library. I think it's his house, but it looks like a library with like a glass of like scotch or something. And it's like a monologue that he's clearly actually written out. It's not just from the cuff, and it is so freaking funny. He could back me up on this, but before even the Jackal Riser, which was way before the Berkeley Credge, which Berkeley, you're a giant company. You got to get some people in there who come up with some original stuff. Like Power Bait is some of the dopest stuff ever. The first time I ever used Berkeley Power Bait, I was blown away. Back when I was younger, Berkeley had this really dope crankbait series. They had lipless and regular crankbaits that had an interchangeable tail that was Berkeley Power Bait that you could slide off. And then like when that scent wore out, you could put a new one in. So they clearly have had some really unique, cool ideas, whatever. And I'm not hating on the Credge. I don't know anything about it. I'm all for different baits being different. Where I get frustrated is like when Chris Zaldane came out with the Bass Mafia swim bait. I'm all for that. I'm not anti that at all. What I was frustrated by was when he said like completely from scratch, totally unique. And I'm like, but it's not exactly really, right? Like it's very similar. I'm not saying it's exactly the same. I don't think it is, but it's very similar to the Mag Draft Freestyle, and that's fine. But don't just say that it's completely started from, you know what I'm saying? That's where I get frustrated. So but before the Jackal Riser was the Lucky Craft Wander. And the Wander was a jerk bait that didn't have a lip at all, but it was a slow sinker. So when you popped it, it automatically came up instead of down, which is the whole thing the Credge and the Jackal Riser does, which I've had 2 or 3 Jackal Risers, all of which were a bit off by pike.
Yeah.
So that's a sad day indeed. But anyway, what are we talking about?
We're talking about our sponsors.
Oh, we're talking about the tube.
Good
Lord. A tube jig is like the first hover stroll, because hover strolling is this idea of like presenting a lure in a way where it's weighted so it stays like, your line ties like this. It stays kind of horizontal. That's what tube jigs have done since like the dawn of man. But the Giltech one, it is weighted.
Brought it back.
It's weighted so specifically. Just the layout of it is absolute perfection. It's perfection. And that's saying a lot, because like tube jigs need to kind of flying lure, like kind of out in front of you. And the Giltech ones are perfect. Nate, what's one of your favorite products, let's say from Grizzly or Kenai?
I think one of the coolest ones is probably going to be their new line of water bottles coming out from Grizzly. They are super dope. A bunch of different sizes, a really unique to them, I guess, kind of lid style to where you can, open it real quick, get your drink, close it up. And then, like I said, a bunch of different sizes, I think like from 20 ounce all the way up to like 128 ounce or something like that. Yeah. Wow. So tons of different sizes, different colors. It's supposed to be like an all unique, like texture to where it's like, it's a hard bottle, but it's kind of like soft, grippy, so it's not going to slip
like
out of your hands. Yes,
you
hard,
said-
but also soft.
Never mind.
Not my ASS. Is that what you thought I said? No, abs, abdominals. Like they're hard, but they got a little grip to them.
Right.
They're
Yeah, for
soft.
sure. But yeah,
That's
you
true.
know, I have the right now I've got the Grizzly Grip 32-ounce kind of canister deal with the
Yeah,
little
it's
screw
awesome.
off lid. Yeah, I love it. I drink out of it literally every single day.
Do you drink more water because of it?
Probably,
Say
yeah,
yes. Okay,
probably pretty close. But the thing is like it's 32 ounces. I'll fill it up at work before I leave work. I'll come home, fill it up. So I'll fill it up before I leave work. It's 32 ounces. So before the night's out, I have it gone. So having the opportunity to get something larger like one of these 64 ounce or even 128 ounce jug where I can bring home some Culligan water for the low, you know what I mean? It's a win.
Price of zero.
Yeah, exactly. It's a win-win. So
yeah, that's smart.
Save
So
me a
that's not out
couple.
yet, or what? Or it's coming out?
Yeah,
or?
no, yeah, they just released them. They're
right
out
on.
now.
This is not a
available
sales
at
pitch. I literally
grizzly.com.
didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. So tell us more, Nate.
No, it's legit like a product. I saw them release, and I'm like, I gotta have one of those.
Yeah.
And I'll probably be placing an order tonight or tomorrow to get one because they are super dope looking. So
Love
that's
that.
rad.
I'm gonna have
And
to
they're
look
made
up.
in Iowa by hardworking Americans who don't cut corners or pay cheaper, whatever.
Yes. Quality product from quality people.
Oh, I
well
love
done.
that.
Lola, give us one of your favorite things.
Well, we were just talking about the beach, and I was just in Florida, and I love the soft-sided cooler.
Dude, it's so good.
It's the best.
Hold on, I'm gonna grab it. Keep
it's
talking.
not just for going to the beach, but that's what I use it for with all of our kids. Like going to the beach, it's easy to carry. It just goes over your shoulder, and I can put all the snacks in it. It doesn't get like dirty and gross. I mean, you love that too, right, Nate?
Yeah, absolutely one of my favorite products as well as my wife's. It's probably her hands down favorite product because like you said, it's easy to carry. You can put everything in it. It's got different pockets so you don't have to put like stuff
I
you
forgot
don't
about
want
that.
to get stuff you don't want to get wet but you still want to keep cold, in different pockets. Like it's super legit. Yeah, we use that thing. We use that thing a lot. So
love it.
Yeah, ours is used, like very used all over, and it still looks awesome.
Yeah, I love it so
it's
much.
Just smart and versatile.
My chapstick in here, my Duke Cannon.
Yeah,
chapstick.
Dude. The lips hurt real bad.
Right.
And the colors are dope, and like I said, I think it's really cool. For us, we are very much in control of Tackle and Tacos, so we're not just like gonna take sponsorships from anybody. And Grizzly being an American-made product, made in America by Americans in Iowa and the Midwest, like that's pretty neat. So,
is it called the carry-all or is it called?
I think
it says carry-all on the side.
I think it's the carry-all. Yeah.
Love it.
It's slick, but I think that's it. You guys got anything else?
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was an awesome episode.
I think I said that was awesome too many times. But
awesome, just awesomely awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was bad. That's so annoying.
What did we talk about more, that or Patrick Mahomes?
You talked about Patrick.
You know what the funny thing is too is I don't actually hate Patrick Mahomes. I really don't. He's just a bunch of things that drive me crazy. But like
he's a human, and we don't hate him.
No, I don't hate him.
We don't wish him ill will.
No,
not
at all.
Why?
Because negativity is too easy.
Wait a second.
No, really, like that's like honestly, like no, like no. I mean, I am, but that's like the opposite side of it, right? Like it's a fine line of being silly and like making fun of Patrick Mahomes' face that he makes, in every commercial, like whatever. But like I actually don't dislike him. I actually don't wish him any ill will.
Right.
And negativity is too easy. And most of the time, things that are easy aren't really worth it. They're not as good. They don't yield as good of results.
Well, because positivity is worth the effort.
Positivity is worth the effort. It actually is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. We'll catch you on the next one. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye-bye.